Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. And of course, the lead story today is about this big makeover at Cracker Barrel, both with the logo and inside the joint. And, you know, I was watching this morning, early this morning, and I was reading some things yesterday from some of the influencers, in particular conservative influencers. And when the conservative influencers that I've seen are talking about the Cracker Barrel logo, they have no perspective on what it is that they're talking about. And you're going to get a full perspective here. You know, one thing I like about growing older, when I was young, I didn't, growing old, people are old, something you don't think about, you think you'll dread. And with age comes a lot of wisdom and perspective and context. And I just give you an example. I watched Benny Johnson did a video on this Cracker Barrel makeover. And what Benny Johnson, he says, they've changed the logo. I don't like it. Why don't you like it? Because it's a trending topic, Benny Johnson, and you can, Cracker Barrel has been under attack by the liberals, by the left, for a couple of decades, for about 25 years, okay? It's disappeared from controversy in the last few years, for the most part, but 25 years ago, Cracker Barrel was in the news almost every day under attack. And all these influencers that are talking about this makeover change and the logo, they don't even know about this, which I'm going to share with you today. And what happened is this was in the late 90s to early 2000s, and Cracker Barrel made a big settlement in the early 2000s. I'm going to go over all of this today. And back in the 90s, you had Jesse Jackson from the Rainbow Push Coalition. You had Al Sharpton, who's on MSNBC now. You had Al Sharpton, who had the National Action Committee. And you had the NAACP and another organization or two. But those were the three big ones, mainly Jesse Jackson, followed by Al Sharpton and the NAACP. And blacks would make all kinds of insane racial comments about racism at Cracker Barrel. And this went on for years and years and years. Things as stupid as the cracker and Cracker Barrel, they would say, referred to the slave master cracking the whip. And that's where the term cracker came from for Southern whites and all this stuff. No, Cracker Barrel actually, this company was founded in the late 60s, 69-ish, and they used to sell in the South back in the day in general stores and in gas stations. They used to sell soda crackers out of barrels. And Cracker Barrel was originally founded not as a restaurant with that cool country store in it. Cracker Barrel was founded as an addition to gas stations to get that old Southern store thing going on, to get, you go to the gas station where they want to get you inside so you can buy stuff inside. That's where they make the profit. It's like the movie theater. They want to get you to the snack bar. And Cracker Barrel was designed to get people who came to gas stations to go inside and buy stuff. And this was like in the late 60s and early 70s, before the rise of the convenience store like we know it today. And it morphed into a restaurant. And it's become a great American tradition, Cracker Barrel. I enjoy Cracker Barrel. My wife and I, oftentimes, we will get Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner from Cracker Barrel. We don't go there in person. We order and do pickup. And Thanksgiving, their Thanksgiving dinner is out of this world. It's delicious. And while I'm a Floridian, originally from Ohio, but I've been in Florida almost my entire life since I was a little child. My father and his parents are Southerners. My dad's from Memphis, Tennessee. My dad's father is from Arkansas. And my grandmother, they made great Southern food when I was growing up. And Cracker Barrel is very close to the Southern cooking that I used to get from my grandma and my granddaddy, okay? And I really enjoy the good Southern food that you get at Cracker Barrel. And I've always liked that store, the store inside Cracker Barrel. Everybody loves that. It's cool. When I was a kid, I liked those candy sticks you would get. You could get them back then. You get them for like 10 cents each. I don't know. The hard candy sticks, I'm not sure what those are called. And they have the cool games and everything. And you sit at the table and you got that triangle game that nobody can win, and all that. Well, some can win it. I could never win it. And there's been an update with that too, which we'll get to. But the reason Cracker Barrel came under attack 20 to 25 years ago, and what happened now with their makeover is the final straw of that. Jesse Jackson, who was the lead race pimp, was friends with President Clinton. And President Clinton started this whole anti-Cracker Barrel thing because he empowered Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and the NAACP with all kinds of bizarre claims back in that era, including Cracker Barrel. So blacks would go to Cracker Barrel, and then they would claim that ridiculous things. They would claim that they were racially discriminated, and while they were in Cracker Barrel, that the host would seat people based on race, that they were racially segregating the seating in the restaurants. Some claim that some blacks would claim they were even serving them food from the trash. I mean, come on. And I'm going to go through an article or two about this from that time in a few minutes. And you'll see what it is I'm talking about. And there were racial claims being made against Cracker Barrel on a nonstop basis back in the late 90s, early 2000s. There were claims that the menu was racist. It was what happened is Jesse Jackson and NAACP, Al Sharpton were the big ones, and some other groups. They would do, back then we called it a shakedown. They would do these shakedowns. They would target a business and they would harass it publicly, and because Jesse Jackson, Sharpton, and the NAACP had so many friends and allies in the media, they would get things out in the media, and companies a lot of times would cave. Sometimes they wouldn't even make claims of racial discrimination. They would meet with executives with companies and say, hey, if you don't pay us, we're going to start making claims of racial discrimination against you. Then we called it shakedowns. Rush used to talk about this all the time. We used to talk about it on the program too because it was in the news. Now, Cracker Barrel in the early 2000s made a panic decision and made a settlement with the race hustlers. And they were branded really officially in the media as a racist restaurant. And all this woke stuff that's going on at Cracker Barrel right now was born from that. And they finally have rid Cracker Barrel of what makes it great. Next will be the food, right? I mean, my goodness, are they going to go vegan next? And if Cracker Barrels, at least everyone that I know of, and there may be exceptions to this, but every Cracker Barrel that I know of is off an exit off the highway, usually I-95 here in Florida. And they do something at Cracker Barrel that is very, I see why they started doing it, but it's become something that I think is very sketch and dangerous. They'll let you stay the night at Cracker Barrel. And a lot of people that have RVs and such and campers that are traveling, they're invited to stay the night in the parking lot at the Cracker Barrel. And then when you wake up, they hope you'll come in and have some breakfast, maybe some dinner if you're there at closing time, and then you're supposed to leave, and it's free. And over the past few years, and that seems like a good thing, right? Especially if you're doing a long drive on the highway. Walmart had a similar policy, a lot of Walmarts. If you see a Cracker Barrel, you can always get off the road and rest your eyes. Well, what's happened is, and you may have seen this, on YouTube in the last few years, there's been this rise of these van life people and people that live in RVs all the time. and they've been glorifying homelessness. A lot of people, they've been glorifying homelessness. And a lot of people have been saying, hey, I go from Cracker Barrel to Cracker Barrel, and between Cracker Barrels, I go to Walmart and I spend the night at Cracker Barrel. And what Cracker Barrels have become in their parking lots, many of them, is a homeless encampment with homeless people that live in cars or campers who go from Cracker Barrel to Cracker Barrel night after night. And it's not safe to be sleeping in these Cracker Barrel parking lots. And I understand why they did it. And it made sense, and it probably worked out well for many, many years until these homeless YouTubers started glorifying living in cars and RVs and stuff as opposed to having a home and glorifying homelessness. And I think there's been a big rise of people living in the parking lot. So it's very dangerous if you go. And if you've been to a Cracker Barrel at night or in the morning, if you went to a Cracker Barrel now and you went to the parking lot, it would be filled with people sleeping in cars, campers, RVs, and things like that. And it's just, it's not safe. It's not safe. But this latest bunch of BS that's going on, I pulled up an article, and this is from NBC News, and it is, the print's so small, it is from 2004, September 9th, 2004. So this is almost 21 years ago, this article. Restaurant chain, this is the headline, restaurant chain, Cracker Barrel, settles race bias claims. Cracker Barrel agreed Thursday, again, this is September 9th, 2004. Cracker Barrel agreed Thursday to pay $8.87 million to settle allegations the restaurant chain mistreated black customers and discriminated against black employees. This was the beginning of the end. What's happening with Cracker Barrel today is because of this panic decision that they made. And I know people will say, oh, they caved. Those of you who remember, Cracker Barrel was under attack like Trump during the lawfare period of the last 4 years. It was that bad. Every day almost, there was another story of Cracker Barrel being attacked. More than 40 plaintiffs in 16 states allege black people were denied service, assigned to segregated seating, subjected to racial slurs, and served food taken from the trash. Can you believe this? Also, about a dozen employees complained that blacks were segregated from white workers and generally received back-of-the-house assignments such as cooks and dishwashers. This matter has been resolved to everyone's satisfaction. The parties are now ready to move forward, said Donald Turner, Cracker Barrel's president and chief operating officer back in 2004. The plaintiff's attorney said the settlement represents good closure to a bad period. So they paid $8.7 million. The company and representatives of the plaintiffs would not discuss the specifics. Well, I know this, the attorneys got a third, and there were 40 plaintiffs. So 40 plaintiffs split whatever was left over of the $8.7 million after the lawyers got the third. And this is very similar to what happened to Chick-fil-A a number of years ago when gay activists descended on Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A's made a lot of concessions to the left since then. So after this, when you make deals with these race hustlers and liberal activists and you pay off 40 of them, the $8.7 million, they don't say, okay, everything's fine now. They know that you're a company that'll deal. So they continue to harass Cracker Barrel until they got some woke CEO, and now they're destroying the company, like the activists destroyed the Boy Scouts of America, like the liberals have destroyed the Bud Light brand, or Bed Bath & Beyond, who threw Mike Lindell at My Pillow out. So you're certainly welcome to call in about this. This is a pre-show. I'm not on the radio yet. Radio show starts at about 20 minutes, and I came on early today. So if you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number's pinned in the live stream. And because we're not on the radio yet, we can be a little more casual and don't have to worry so much about the language until the radio show starts in about 15 minutes. Now, if you'd like to support my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of the video. It's also, the direct URL is patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all my podcast episodes. And also, if you become a top Patreon supporter, you get a live on-air shout-out. Thank you on every podcast episode. Get your name up on the screen as well on every podcast episode. As you can see now on YouTube, those are my top Patreon supporters. And you also get access to a lot of information and things that my wife and I both post that we post nowhere else. So if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the video, or go to the direct website address, which is patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. All right, let me take a call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's John. I'm calling from Texas.
Hey, John in Texas. What's on your mind?
Brother, I'm hearing what you're saying about the Cracker Barrel deal, and it's tying in to what's, so wrong with what's going on with the new right, the new white right in particular. I'm hearing what you're saying about Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton being protected to harass the people down at Cracker Barrel, to basically surround them and then demand their protection money if they want to keep operating.
That's what happened.
Well, this story is something that the new white right is guilty of themselves.
I don't know what you're talking about. The white right? What are you talking about?
I'm saying this whole thing, we recognize that black people were being protected to harass and steal and jump people in the streets and do all this, and it's caused a backlash.
No, come on. Save your racism for someone else. What I was talking about, what's happened with. By the way, thanks for your call. Please give me a break. Some fake white supremacists. No, what I was talking about is giving context. What this woke destruction that we're witnessing right now of Cracker Barrel, which is going to hit their business hard. They've already started redoing the restaurants. I know they redid one here in Florida and Orlando. I don't know if they've remodeled the ones where I'm at yet. But, the thing with Cracker Barrel, what's happened with these woke CEOs aren't just there out of the blue. I was giving you context. And for these racial attacks by the NAACP and others in the late 90s and early 2000s that resulted in that panicked settlement that they made. What happened when you deal with leftist activists and you cave to them, it's like trying to make deals with terrorists. The reason that the United States does not negotiate with terrorists is because once you do, they know you're willing to deal. They keep pushing. They want more. So when Cracker Barrel paid off all these people making these just false and absurd racial discrimination claims, because nobody believes that. No, it's all nonsense. But they were getting so much negative press because those activist organizations, this was before the rise of social media. We're talking late 90s, early 2000s. The internet was barely being used, certainly not the way it is today. And what we can now call the legacy media, that was pretty much all you had in the late 90s, early 2000s, with some exceptions. And they flooded nonstop what you call the legacy media today, the main networks, everything that had massive viewers compared to today, all these negative racial stories about Cracker Barrel. So they paid off this lawsuit that I shared with you. And then what they did was they kept pushing. And next thing you know, they're celebrating LGBT stuff. And then next thing you know, they're changing their logo. They're changing the interior. It's no longer a country store. It looks like an IHOP inside the place. And that it's the destruction of a great American company that a lot of us enjoy. And their business is going to hit hard because this story, as it spreads, people are going to stop going to Cracker Barrel. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, once, twice. All right, they lost their nerve. If you're on hold, stand by. You are welcome to call in. This is a bit of the pre-show. The radio show will start in about a little less than 15 minutes. But I thought I'd start up early. What I was saying at the top of the stream is a lot of times context is important. Why did this happen? And you know what President Trump says, everything woke goes to, I can't say it because we're not on the radio quite yet, but you know what I mean. Go woke, go broke is the nicer way, but the one with the S word that ends in T is what the president says. And once liberals get into these companies and organizations, they destroy them all. The Boy Scouts of America no longer exist, basically, because of what the leftists did. And Cracker Barrel is in big trouble. You may have seen the story that Bed Bath & Beyond is moving out of California. Bed Bath & Beyond pretty much went out of business because they fell victim to wokeism and kicked out Mike Lindell at MyPillow, and it was a major backlash. People stopped going to Bed Bath & Beyond. They went bankrupt. A store in my neighborhood went out of business a couple years ago, and we're going to see a similar backlash with Cracker Barrel. Now, the question will be, since they've only remodeled a few of these restaurants, and they probably haven't changed the signs on all that many of them yet, will the backlash be so heavy they'll stop in their tracks what they're doing? We'll find out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hey, it's Will from California.
Hey, Will.
Hey, I just wanted to call you to tell you that Maxwell's on work release today, and now tell us why that's a good thing.
I'm not talking about that. I know nothing about it.
So tell us why it's a good thing.
No, I'm not talking about that. That's
Come on, don't be soft. Be a man. Talk about Maxwell on work release.
Get your own show, and you can talk about what you think's important.
Come on, tell us.
All right, take care. That's it. I mean, and one of the things that's changed in this see, this is an interesting thing what's happened, because there's so much backlash against Cracker Barrel right now. We've seen for the first time what's been going on in the last few weeks. We're seeing this in Texas with the redistricting, right? And we've seen Republicans, because of Trump's leadership, because the Republican Party is now a MAGA party, we've seen the Republican Party stand up for what is right and behave like Republicans and react and deal with things in the appropriate way in which we have won. We're in charge. We've won. We've got the mandate. We've got the American people behind us. So, the leftist activists are...
Steve Kane.
Oh, Steve's calling, yeah. Hold on. You know what? Let me take a quick break. I'll take Steve's call, and then I'll find out what he wants, and then we'll be back. All right? If you are new, make sure that you subscribe. Let's see here. What commercial am I going to play? Because I wasn't planning on doing that right now. Hold on. Let's see. What do we have? All right. We'll take a quick break. Be back. On the line, we have Bruce. Bruce is a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. He heard me talking with Joe Thomas about annuities and what a great deal they are. And he went in with his wife, and now he's a client. Hey, Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Brian.
So tell me about your experience with Jupiter Joe Thomas.
A fine gentleman. We sat down with Joe, and we explained everything to him, and we brought all our information, and he worked everything out great.
The cool thing about annuities is your money's never at risk. You're guaranteed a revenue stream for the rest of your life, but there's a bonus, really a signing bonus, where you can make a boatload of money before you even leave Joe Thomas's office. Can you talk a little bit about that, Bruce?
Well, that's where I was surprised when we sat down. We talked about the bonuses, and to my amazement, it was 10%, and there was even another one that's bigger.
Wow, that's amazing. So you made 10% on your money before you even got back in your car.
Yeah, it was more than that, but it was great.
Listen, guys, do what Bruce did. Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call. You can set up a free consultation either on the phone or in the office, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999, and online at jupiterjoe.com. All right, Bruce, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, Steve didn't answer when I called back. And we're not on the radio quite yet. The radio show will start in about 8 or 9 minutes. It's kind of a little pre-show. So this Cracker Barrel backlash is pretty heavy and pretty severe. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Republicans react to it. I saw Don Jr.'s already involved. So I'm predicting a mass backlash to this. And we very well could see, because Cracker Barrel reversed this decision. You know, this woke decision, this is something that was in the making for a long time, right? Changing the logo and remodeling the restaurants, because some of them have been remodeled already. So this didn't just happen. This has been going on for a while. This decision, this rebranding decision and remodeling decision was not made for an America that had an overwhelming election and re-election of President Trump to a second non-consecutive term. This decision was made by the same people that destroyed Disney with their wokeism. This decision was made for a country with Kamala Harris as president or Joe Biden in the auto pen again, not for a Trump re-election. So this was a decision that was made without people having a real feel for the pulse of the country and thinking we were somewhere else. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is John. I'm from Springfield, Illinois. And I just want to say, long live Bed Bath & Beyond, and grab her by the pussy.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I doubt that anyone would want you to do that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Steve's Nuts, Iowa. How's it going?
Come on. Why do you got to be such a vulgar pervert? I'm sure it's not often you have a chance to have a real conversation with someone, and you got to.
So
why would you call a man?
Stuff? Why do you avoid all the good stuff?
Because I'm not a creep and perv like you are. That's why. Oh my goodness, I tell you. But so those of you that are wondering what I'm doing here, coming on early, my local Starbucks that I go to every morning, they've been opening up at 5:30 for a long time, and this week, and I just found out this yesterday, this week they started opening up at 5 a.m. So I can't go live on the air without my morning venti hot blonde Americano with all the espresso in it. So now that I can get my coffee at 5 a.m., I didn't get there quite at 5. I got there 7 minutes after. Now that I can get my coffee at 5 a.m., if I'm not too busy in the morning, because sometimes I have to do work before I go on the air for my podcast or for the radio station or something, I'm going to start coming on early. And so make sure you got that notification bell clicked. I'm going to try to come on around about 5:30 on the main streams as many days of the week as I can. And, you know, I've been wanting to turn the show and transform it into a 4-hour show for a while. And because I'm addicted to my espresso, okay? So I got to get it in the morning. But since I couldn't get it early enough to go on early, I haven't been able to really start that. So today is the first day of that. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there because we're getting close to when the radio station will be switching over. So I'm not going to take any more calls until then, just in case they accidentally switch me on early. And we've got one of these wonderful callers, and they're not, and they're setting up, and they're not ready for the dump button. But I'm going to open on the radio with the Cracker Barrel story, and I really think the context is so important. But now with the Republicans standing up, yep, espresso. This has 4 shots of espresso in it, and I get one of those every morning. Before I go on the air, and I drink it during the show. And I've tried to give it up. I used to drink 2 of those every morning, and I'm down to 1. So I've cut it down 50%, but I can't get rid of that last one. I've tried it over the weekends from time to time, and it just hasn't worked out. But I'm going to lead with the Cracker Barrel story because, you know, it's more than just about the logo. They obviously want to cancel out the old white guy. They don't want the old white guy there, right? Because, you know, we talk about this whole controversy, which is an insane controversy over the Sydney Sweeney ad. It's because the woke left have decided that white people were going to be segregated from our society. They don't want white people starring in movies, television shows, in logos, in television commercials, or anything. And they were winning that. They were about, if Kamala Harris would have been elected, this Trump 2028 hat I'm wearing may have been outlawed before long. Hold on, I got to adjust the AC. Be right back, guys. And it's really a sad thing because the left, who, in particular, minorities on the left, they had great people like Martin Luther King and many others who fought so long and hard to have a colorblind society. And then these groups, when they get empowered, they want to racially discriminate and they want to segregate white people. And that's what they were in the process of doing. And that's what led to this Cracker Barrel decision that's going on. Okay, let's see here. When are we going to be on? Okay, we've got, how long until we go live on the radio? Hold on. Okay. We've got 3 minutes until we're live on the radio, so we're still in the pre-show period. But, the way the Republicans have been running things properly, as if we're in charge and have won, is just something that we're not accustomed to. We're really not. I mean, you look at what happened in Texas. They redrew the maps, and the Republicans gained 5 congressional districts. And it's so important to understand the Republicans are not doing gerrymandering. The Republicans are correcting gerrymandering. The Democrats have been doing this all over the country. They've got false census reports and numbers, so some states have too many House members, some don't have enough. Texas and Florida don't have enough. California has too many, New York too, and probably Illinois. And the Democrats have been able to intimidate Republicans for decades with these gerrymandered districts with their fake census numbers. And the Republicans standing up in Georgia, who were inspired, of course, because of President Trump's leadership, the country's different now. Republicans are different now. And those of you that have been Republicans for a long, long time, you remember the days when Republicans never stood up to these people, never stood up to the left. And they are for the first time. So this Cracker Barrel story, which may not seem like the most important story in the world to a lot of people, it's one of those defining moments of what's going to happen in the country. Would you go to Cracker Barrel to have a meal now with what they're doing? Now we're going to be live in just over 1 minute. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. And like I said, I'm going to start coming on early, like I did this morning, every morning that I can. So make sure you click the notification bell, and you can join me in the morning when I go live early. All right. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. And everyone, please like the video. And if you could share the video on your social media right now, that would be awesome too. I'd appreciate it, guys. Okay, we have 30 seconds till we're live on the air. Do you guys like the idea of me starting early like I did today? Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. We have a lot to cover today, But what I'm going to start with today is this Cracker Barrel controversy. It really has to be talked about. I've been following it since it broke yesterday. I was live on my podcast yesterday when this story broke, and I've been following it. And I've been very frustrated at all of the coverage that I've seen everywhere about Cracker Barrel because there's been zero context into what's happened. And if you don't know, Cracker Barrel has gone woke times infinity. They've changed everything but their name. They changed the logo. They're still called Cracker Barrel, but they're working on that. But they changed the logo and took the old man in the chair sitting next to the soda Cracker Barrel off of the logo. And they've done a complete remodel of the inside of the restaurants, and they're so generic and boring. I would say the inside, these newly remodeled Cracker Barrels have about as much personality as your average IHOP today. And what's missing is not just that they were involved in the LGBT office whatever Olympics, which I'll get into in a little bit. Cracker Barrel has been under constant attack by the left for about 25 years. And when I was watching the news coverage and also watching some of these conservative influencers as well as the news cover it, they have not talked about what's been going on with Cracker Barrel for the last 25 years. I'm a big fan of Cracker Barrel. I eat there once or twice a year. My wife and I, we go to Cracker Barrel we get takeout on Thanksgiving a lot. Since our daughter grew up and moved out of the house, you know, we get takeout at Cracker Barrel. We also do that on Christmas sometimes. And their Thanksgiving takeout is spectacular. It's very good. And my wife and I, it's just we'll get an extra dinner for each of us to have for the next day. It's very good food. And I mean, I've been going to Cracker Barrels my whole life, and it's part of Americana. But like anything else that goes woke, you know, I can't say on the radio I can't quote the president. He says everything woke goes to with the S word, but go woke and go broke, I can say on the radio. And everything woke is a poison in our society. It's a deadly virus in our society, wokeism. And anything that gets infected with woke is destroyed. Look at what woke was doing to our military with the recruitment, with the weird gender stuff that was going on. Look what woke has done to women's sports in this country. And a lot of these things are being reversed by President Trump. How many of you guys were in Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts growing up? I was a Cub Scout and a Weeblo. I didn't get beyond Weeblo, but some of the greatest times I had as a boy were when I was in Cub Scouts and a Weeblo and was with the Boy Scouts. The wokesters got to the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts basically, they don't exist anymore. They let girls in, and it's a very tiny organization now. The Mormons, becoming a Boy Scout was like part of Mormonism, and the wokeism drove the Mormons out of the Boy Scouts. It doesn't exist anymore. And you can look at things. I give you another example. What's happened with football? You know, the NFL, wokeism got this bend a knee BLM stuff of taking a knee for the great national anthem, honoring our great flag. You know, and they finally get over that. And it took years to get over that. And now what happens? They got these weirdo cheerleaders dancing around in the field. And wokeism has done so much damage to the NFL. It's doing incredible damage again. There's a poll I'm going to share later that CNN had that almost half, it's 48%, of young people between 18 and 22 have not had sex in the last year. Years ago, that number was like 18%. Because of all their gender stuff, the wokeism, we're not having babies in this country. The birth rate is so down. The birth rate and the death rate are almost even. This deadly truck driver accident on the Florida Turnpike in Fort Pierce that's made the national news, where this guy that didn't speak English in the country illegally was given a CDL license by Gavin Newsom, who should be charged as a co-conspirator in that manslaughter case. Wokeism gave that guy the driver's license that got 3 Floridians killed on the Florida Turnpike. Wokeism is a deadly poison that sometimes and oftentimes gets people killed. Lincoln Riley is dead because of wokeism. Bed Bath & Beyond, here's another one. Bed Bath & Beyond, they're getting a lot of publicity lately. They're moving out of California. Bed Bath & Beyond got all woke and kicked Mike Lindell's MyPillow out, and they went bankrupt. They're barely in business. My guess is they're pulling out of California like they pulled out of my neighborhood here in Florida a couple years ago. They're going out of business because when they went woke and ejected MyPillow, millions of people stopped shopping there at Bed Bath & Beyond. Go woke, go broke. Everything woke turns to blank. And we could probably say, look at Disney. I have been an annual pass holder at Walt Disney World for many, many years. They went woke and did the insane thing. Mr. Walt Disney, the man Walt Disney that created the company, he was a Republican, and a very strong anti-union Republican. We had a Republican governor in Florida that he made the deal with to build Disney World here. They went woke, and I haven't been to Disney World in years. I don't have my annual pass anymore. In fact, everyone in my family, we had a annual pass, and a lot of people like me don't go to Walt Disney World anymore because they went woke. So this decision that Cracker Barrel has made isn't a decision that was made overnight. This change in the logo, taking the personality out of their restaurants and out of their old country store. They've been under attack for about 25 years. I'm going to get into some details on that after the first break, but here's the deal. Okay? This change that they made is one of the worst business. It's the worst business decision a country has made since Bud Light made that strange person their spokesperson. You're not going to... Now, there's some talk that Bud Light may try to work something out with Sydney Sweeney and try to bring the brand back. Maybe, I don't know. But the devastating impact that they had on Bud Light, Cracker Barrel has Bud Lighted themselves with this. That's what's happened. They Bud Lighted themselves with this. But the decision they made, because they've already remodeled some of their restaurants. I know one of the Cracker Barrels in Orlando has been updated with the new logo and the new interior. I don't think the one near me has. I'll check. But as far as I know, it hasn't. But this isn't a decision that was just made overnight. This is something that was made some time ago and is going into effect now with Cracker Barrel. And this decision they made was for a different America. The decision they made to change their brand away from a classic American look to this woke generic garbage was a decision that Cracker Barrel made with this woke lady that's running the company into the toilet. It was a decision that was made not for an America that reelected Trump and he won all the battleground states and all of that. This decision was made for a woke America where Kamala Harris was president, or Joe Biden in the auto pen had another term. This was a decision without having the pulse of the American people, understanding that this is a MAGA nation we're living in, a MAGA nation, not a woke nation. Wokeism's gone. Look what wokeism was doing to our military. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. So if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to get into this story in some more detail with Cracker Barrel because it is important, and what happens next is important about this story. And I know a lot of people may think, this isn't that big of a thing. This is bigger, that's bigger. No, this Cracker Barrel story is one of those turning points in America. And we're going to talk about that as the show goes on. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I got an email from Mike Lindell's office last night, an incredible new deal on the Percal bed sheets. I have these bed sheets. They're amazing. The Percal bed sheets, any size, any color, just $29.88 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. Any color, any size, just $29.88. The queen size, the kings, the split kings, the California kings, the twins, all sizes, no matter what they are, and no matter what color, just $29.88 with our promo code Kane at checkout. Get them while they last because they're going to start running out of colors and sizes and everything else. Also, still in effect, when your order equals $100 or more, it's free shipping. So if you get 4 sets, you also get free shipping on top of it with our promo code Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. All right, my name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. All right, so those of you that have just joined in the last few minutes, I went live at 5:30 today. And on the days that I can, which is going to be every day of the week that I possibly can do it, I'm going to start going live at 5:30 during the week instead of 6. So kind of do like a half hour before I go on the radio. And I am able to do that because my Starbucks is opening up at 5, not 5:30, so I can get my coffee earlier. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take some calls when we get back. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Just a second, guys. Okay. Now, if you are a Medicare person, if you're 65 years of age or older, give Chapter a call. Chapter covers all 50 states. So no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help you with your Medicare. Their help is absolutely 100% free, always. Never costs you a dime. There's no catches to that, by the way. There's over 24,000 Medicare policies. Chapter, because they're a national company, has access to all of the over 24,000 policies. Did you know that there are millions of seniors who are not getting all the Medicare benefits they're entitled to? That's right. Give Chapter a call. When you call the number's in the description of the video. It's also on the screen. I'm going to give it out to you in just a moment. When you call Chapter, you're going to get a real live agent on the phone who's going to be able to answer all your questions completely for free. The average Chapter client saves over $1,100 a year. That's a lot of money. Holy smokes, that's a lot of money. I'll take that any day of the week, wouldn't you? Heck yeah. So give them a call. Make sure you're not paying too much. Make sure you're on the right plan. Make sure you are getting all of the Medicare benefits you're entitled to. Also, open enrollment will be here before you know it. You want to call Chapter, and it'll help you jump the line during that open enrollment period. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. All right, 805-754-3033. Again, the number for Chapter is in the description of the video. Give them a call. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. Let me see. Yep, 90, just under 90 seconds. 75 seconds, we'll be back live on the air. No, I never get sick of winning. The only thing I disagree with President Trump on is that I'll get tired of winning. I do not get tired of winning. Do you? Heck no. Thank you for that super chat. Who sent the super chat? Job for 9 sent a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Okay, less than a minute. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We're talking about what's going on with Cracker Barrel and how the wokesters are about to put a great American company out of business. I got a lot to cover on this, which I'll get to as the conversation goes on. Your thoughts are certainly welcome at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Kirkland from Redding, California. How you doing?
All right, hold on as I answer all these phones. All right, go. Oh, hold on. All right, go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
I just want to talk to you about why are you lying?
About what?
You said that if Kamala Harris was elected president, you wouldn't be able to wear that hat. So why are you lying about that?
It's not a lie.
We didn't ban Nazi symbols here in America, so why would we ban that?
Well, first of all, I'm wearing a Trump 2028 hat. Make America Great Again and MAGA are not Nazi symbols.
Yeah, why would that hat be banned?
What should be banned?
You guys are locking people in chambers, right?
Excuse
like
me.
Texas?
No, excuse me.
You are. That's why you're distracting with the Cracker Barrel story.
I want to tell you, okay? You call.
What? What do you got to say, Brian? What do you got to say to me?
I let you call in all the time. I take your calls, which I don't have to do at all. Okay.
You take anyone's calls. Don't act like this is special, Brian.
No, that's not true. There are people who are no longer permitted to call the show, and you don't hear their voices.
Really? Because Jerome from California reaches you often.
Because I'm very conservative, but I'm
because he's able to get through to you. Just like
I could.
Did,
Okay,
like
all right. I could stop you all from calling. I'm not going to sit here and talk to crazy people and perverts. I try to be nice to these liberals and let them call in, which I don't have to do, and they just can't control themselves. Anyone who calls in, you're allowed to call. If I didn't want you on the show, you wouldn't get on. I don't quite get it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. My name is Sherry. I'm calling from Tamarack. And I have to tell you, I've been listening to you and Steve for 30 years. I've used them for advertising and blah, blah, blah. I've never called into the show, but I had to call this morning because I almost fell off my chair when I saw you on Newsmax yesterday. Was that announced or what?
I've been on Newsmax quite a bit. Which show did you catch me on?
A repeat, I guess, of Wendy Williams.
Wendy Bell. Yeah, Wendy Bell. Yeah, I was on Wendy Bell. Yes.
Right. That was so I said, Brian, like that. I'm like, oh my God, that was great. I would like to ask you one other thing, and I'll hang up. Okay, I hope you can do something to help. I don't get to listen a lot, to help Curtis Sliwa in New York, because I think he needs to be interviewed down here. There's plenty of New Yorkers and New York Jews in particular. I'm one of them, and he needs to help. He's got to become the next mayor.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, I am a little aggravated at Curtis Sliwa, and
Really?
I like him. He's an American legend and icon. And back in his day, he did good stuff, right? What he is doing now is terrible. Listen, there's two types of voters in New York City for this mayor's race at the end of the year, right? You've got Zohan voters and everyone else. Right? So what Curtis Sliwa is doing, what Governor Cuomo is doing, and what Mayor Adams is doing is splitting the everybody else vote up in many different ways, as opposed to and I know that Curtis Sliwa loves New York, but his campaign is hopeless. If he was on every show every day, 24 hours a day being interviewed, he'd still lose. And every vote for Curtis Sliwa is a vote for Zohan Mamdani.
Okay, could I butt in for 1 minute? I all of a sudden lately got to listening to WABC, the New York station.
Yeah.
I have not been to New York in 40 years. Okay, don't figure how old I am. But the point is that they discuss this constantly on the morning show. They have him on like 3 or so times a week. And the idea is this: Adams is way down. I mean, down in the
Yeah.
polls, but
Yeah.
And Cuomo, God, I have to say, God forbid, I'm not there anymore, but I even know someone who died because of the grannies. I have a slogan from something grannies that rhymes with that he killed them. I can't stand the thought of him becoming mayor again. That's number 2. But number 3 is he's surging. Curtis has been surging.
Curtis Sliwa is surging. I mean, if he had 2% of the vote, and now he has 4% of the vote, he surged 100%. I like Curtis Sliwa a lot, and he's a good man, and he loves New York, but he can't win, and he cannot win.
Don't look. That's what I know you can't listen because you're on the air.
No, I'm listening. You're telling me. I'm listening.
When you could sometimes tune in to hear a repeat of the Sid and Friends morning show up there, and they go over all of this, and he's not that low. He's like 14 to 17. It's not a lot, but this is a horror show. The mere thought of that Zohan becoming the mayor, it's inconceivable.
Listen. First of all, the whole in a post 9/11 world, for a Muslim man in New York to be ahead of everybody else in the polls. You got to ask yourself who won the war on terror, and you know what I'm talking about. And I'll tell you another thing. Where is the police union and the fire department union? Who I haven't heard them. Have they come out and endorsed anyone? Have they? Where are the 9/11 families in New York? They need to come out against this guy.
It's so devastating. He's anti-Semitic. He's everything. It's like a bad joke. Let
me tell you something. Okay, this is so important about Zohan Mamdani. Okay, he is. I know everybody says he's a communist. People are afraid to say the truth. He's a Muslim.
I know.
And what's going on here is the Muslim movement is trying to do to New York City what they've done to London, what they've done to Ilhan Omar's district and all of that in Minnesota,
right.
And this is not right. And if I were interviewing Zohan Mamdani, he does these interviews, and they ask him to condemn the global intifada, which he has not done. The global intifada, they're asking the wrong question. 9/11 was part of the second global intifada. So does he condemn 9/11? Because that was part of the second intifada, and I haven't heard anybody ask him this. And he's surging in the polls, because you've got Governor Cuomo, whose ego is out of control. Curtis Sliwa is an American legend, like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and people like that. His ego's gotten a hold of him too. Okay. And Mayor Adams is trying to get a pardon from Trump because he's got some problems, So, I mean, and these 3 guys are helping Mamdani, including Curtis Sliwa.
Well, it's a rough one because I'm like I said, I've been away for 40 years, and it gives me the creeps. There's no word. There's no cringe worse than this thought. And he's 33 years old, and he's only been in this country a couple of years. He's rich, and he lives in a rent control apartment.
And let me tell you, Governor Cuomo pointed this out a couple weeks ago. You may have seen the story that he just got married to his wife.
Yeah.
They got married 3 times. The first time was in Queens. Then they went to Dubai. That's where his wife is from. She's Muslim too. They got married in Dubai. And this wedding in Uganda was their 3rd wedding. The guy's gotten married on 3 continents. And at his wedding in Uganda, he had masked Special Forces military guarding the family estate, and they put up cell phone jammers so that no one there could get their cell phones to operate. Why did he have cell phone jammers? This guy is a scary dude. By the way, he wants to legalize prostitution. Mayor Adams was talking about the other day. What the heck?
Everything that comes out of his mouth is crazy and or a lie. And when the shooting happened on Park Avenue, the horrible, killing spree.
Yeah.
He went. I think he had a lot of nerve after wanting to defund the police. to go to the family of the cop.
Well, listen, I'm late.
Please.
I'm late for the break, so I got to run. But
No, go.
but don't take this as I don't. I love Curtis Sliwa, and I have a lot of respect for him, but he can't win. I got to run. But if you're on hold, hang in there. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number is toll free 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Hey, let me ask you something. What do you do when the system runs out of answers? When the doctors say there's nothing more we can do, but deep down you feel like the story isn't over? What if illness isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of a deeper one? Out of the Fire, from author Mark Dixon, is a powerful true story of a woman's resilience, reflection, and awakening after 20 years of MS. It's not about quick fixes. It's about what happens when you finally start listening to your body. If you've ever felt dismissed or overlooked, this book is for you. Get Out of the Fire, available now on Amazon.
All right, we're back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, and if you didn't catch, I came on 30 minutes early today at 5:30. I'm going to try to do that as much as I can moving forward. I've wanted to make the show 4 hours long for a while, but some days I can't because I've got too many things going on. But now that my Starbucks is opening up a half hour early at 5 a.m., and I can get my coffee at 5 a.m. instead of them opening up at 5:30, I can get on the air a little earlier when I'm in this studio. So if you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the phones. Now, so far as the liberals, I like to hear all voices. Okay, and I have no problem hearing from people who disagree with me. There's just a few simple rules on this program. One, Monday through Thursday is not open phones. Open phones is Friday. On Friday, we call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about anything and everything on your mind on Friday's show. That's number one. The other 4 days, you got to stay on topic. The other thing is, another rule is one call per day. One call per day. You can call every day, but only once per day. And no profanity, because I'm on the radio, and none of the P word that has file in it. That word's not permitted, or calling somebody, doing things those types of things just aren't allowed. And those are very few rules. I take the calls screenless and unvetted, which I don't have to do. We have the ability and have someone who could answer the phones for me before they go on the air. I don't like to run the show that way. And if I don't want you on the air, you wouldn't be on the air. So I allow you guys to get on the air that think you're getting by me, but you're not. I'm letting you on the air. And you got to have some sense. This is a professional program, okay? And I don't think my handful of rules are unreasonable. But everyone's welcome to call in, abiding by those few simple rules, which I don't think, and no one does this. Nobody takes calls screenless and unvetted like I do. All right, stand by. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm going to take a couple more calls, and then I'm going to get deep into this Cracker Barrel story because it's very important. I know a lot of people will think it's not, but it is. And I'm going to get into that as the show goes on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Oh, hey,
How are you
Richie.
this morning?
All right, Richie.
All right, here's the deal. Curtis Sliwa has. I just looked the latest poll while the lady was on. She's delusional.
Yeah.
He's got 16%. He's got 16%, and the mayor has 8%. Cuomo's got like 23%.
That's right.
Mondani has Mamdani has 44. So if Curtis drops out, those votes are going to go to Cuomo.
Well, here's the problem, Richie.
49%.
Here's the problem, Richie. You know, the election, the mayor's race is in November, isn't it?
Right.
There are cutoff dates to be on the ballot. And if these guys don't come together, it may already be too late. If they don't get together real quick, the ballot's going to have so many people on it, this guy's going to cruise through. And as much as I respect Curtis Sliwa, his ego is not going the right way. It's just
it's all math. It's so simple. I mean, Cuomo wins if he's off the ballot, and Cuomo's much better. And the people keep on talking about the nursing homes.
You think? Okay, wait a minute. You think if Schlee was off the ballot, you're saying that Governor Cuomo would win?
Yeah, because he would have 49%. You got the mayor's only got 8%. He keeps the votes. He's non-factor. He's got his 8%, and that's all he's going to get.
Well, see, it's what I said to the nice lady who called a little while ago. I have heard nothing from the firemen's union, the police union, or the 9/11 families in New York, unless I've missed it. Have you?
No, nothing.
And what I said to her, this is the question. This is the one, okay? And I understand 9/11 was a long time ago, but every time I got goosebumps right now just thinking about it. You know, the firefighters and the police officers were running into the buildings everybody else was running out of. And I'm here to tell you that this guy, Zohan, will not condemn the global intifada. 9/11 was part of the second global intifada. And I haven't heard anyone ask him to condemn 9/11. And by the way, the first attack on the Trade Center too. I have not heard him do that. Anybody ask him that. And I know it's hard for somebody that's got a real question to ask, but New Yorkers that are in media, okay, they could get this discussion going that I have. You know, I told a caller yesterday, people that we have listeners all over America and the world. Our number 2 market so far as listeners is New York City. So we have a lot of people in New York City I mean a lot, Rich, a lot. I don't mean transplanted New Yorkers. I mean there are a lot of people listening to me now live in New York City. Those of you that are in New York City, this is the question you want everyone to ask. Will Zohan Mamdani do you condemn 9/11, which is part of the global intifada? You got to get the global intifada into the question. And no one's asked him that, Richie. That might be something that would cause him to start to tank.
No, I'll tell you why he won't. Because he's going to lie. Because now he's getting.
I don't think he can say it. I don't think he could. They have asked him so many times to condemn the global intifada. He hasn't done it.
Yeah, he's skirted the question.
That's right. So I don't think he would. I think if you asked him, you got to ask it in a beat. First, you ask him to condemn the global intifada, which he won't do. Then you point out that the both World Trade Center attacks, but 9/11 was part of the global intifada.
Right.
Do you condemn 9/11, the attack on this city? And I don't think he would. I really don't think he can.
But Brian, this is a fact, okay? What this lady doesn't tell you. She's been out of New York 40 years. I've been out a long time. New York, the demographics have totally changed. It's such a wacko city with the voters. It's not just the candidates. Most of the people in New York actually believe in this mayor because that's the way they think. The New York City is full of illegal and legal migrants, and that's fact. It's not the same city.
You know,
it's the welfare capital of the world.
There's a guy that I watch that does live. What is the name of his channel? There's a guy that does a live stream YouTube channel in New York called Something in Wall Street. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? And he walks through the city of New York. I saw him the other day walking in front of Grand Central Station. You could eat off the sidewalk. It's so clean and beautiful. They've cleaned it up so much. They've done some, you get this guy Mamdani in, you're never gonna sleep because the Muslim call to prayer is gonna be going on 5 times a day. And I have heard the police say there's going to be a lot of police quitting, but there needs to be a major event with prominent people, okay, prominent New Yorkers, including Governor Cuomo and others, and prominent people from the police and the fire department and the 9/11 families, and they need to come out on the stage, in the street, have a massive event, and unite to save New York and ask Mom Donnie to condemn the global intifada of 9/11.
You're right.
And I know the demographics has changed, but the Democrat Party machine is not controlled by the imams. Okay, so the Democrat.
No, I got it, but there's not enough. There's not enough real Democrats that. Let me tell you this: the only sane people in New York are going to vote for Sweetwell. They are literally the last of the hurrah, 16%. The rest of New York City is a welfare case, man. I'm telling you, to come from everywhere to get handouts. The city is so expensive
let me tell you, Richie,
they're giving everything free.
What was the name of that? I would rather Anthony Weiner be mayor than Zohan.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
The Wiener man.
Yeah.
And I want to just bring up one real thing. You started off with Cracker Barrel, okay? Fact of the matter is this. This is what happens. It started out equal rights for people that were gay. And then it turned into we have to have gay marriage because it's fair. And they put a guilt on everybody. Then they turn around and then they say, well, we got to let people in sports that are not the same sex. Then we went down to everybody is the same sex. There's no difference. If you want to be a girl, you be a girl. If you want to be a boy. This is such a sick, perverted.
Everything that woke gets involved in, it destroys. Woke is a disease.
But woke is also a guilt trip for the people that aren't woke. That's what they push. Like they get on the phone with you. How can you? They call you Nazi. They call you like Trump. They call you everything because you're normal.
Yes.
You see, these people that call it are not normal. And what is normal? Normal is normal. Yeah, that's another question they always just go, well, everything is normal.
I was talking a little earlier. See, I might play this later. CNN has a new set of polls out. And young people between 18 and 22, only 48% of them have had sex in the last year. And back in the days when you and I were that age, even though it was different decades, the number was well over 50%. Okay, well over. And because they've done all this woke gender stuff, people aren't having sex that results in pregnancies. It's at the lowest numbers. They've reduced our birth rate. Our death rate and birth rate are almost equal. Wokeism, and Mom Donnie's a part of this. This thing with Cracker Barrel is part of it. Wokeism's mission is to destroy the United States of America.
Yeah, but the influence on advertisement with models. The models in this country wear these girly pants and crap like that. They put it on TV, and now all of a sudden you got this guy that works out at a gym putting on these girly pants. In other words, it's just a sick situation. I mean, they make everything.
I think everyone should work out. Everyone should work out like Bobby Kennedy in blue jeans. All right, Richie, I gotta run. I want to tell you guys though that there's an incredible deal going on right now with the great Mike Lindell. Listen to this: the Percal bed sheets, any size, any color, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, just $29.88. Wow, that's any size, any color. The queens, the kings, the California kings, the split kings, the twins, any size, $29.88, and any color. Order them while they last. They are going to start running out of sizes and colors real quick. Also, it's still free shipping on orders that equal $100 or more. So if you get 4 sets of these sheets at this great price, you get free shipping, too, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. We'll be right back. Oh, boy. Oh, Bruce, I just got your text. I'll read that article a little later. No, Curtis Lee is a very good guy. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It's just he can't win. He's helping Mamdani. You know, remember what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Exactly. Hold on. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to get into the Cracker Barrel when we get back. Okay, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Where is my laptop? Here we go. I'm just checking some messages. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We've got 1 minute. We'll be back. If you're on hold, stand by. We got about 30 seconds. We'll be back. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you came in after 6, I started the show at 5:30. If you want to go back and catch that. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to get back to the main headline, main story of today, and that is this woke destruction of Cracker Barrel. And, you know, I wasn't going to really talk about this too much, and then I saw the coverage that Cracker Barrel was getting. And if you're, just to get you up to speed on what's happened with Cracker Barrel, they have this lady wokester who runs the company. They have done a couple of things. They've changed their logo. They're the white guy in the chair sitting next to the barrel. He is no longer there. Okay, and I know it's crazy, and it just says Cracker Barrel. And I've been following the story since this broke yesterday. And a lot of people are out there talking about it, and I've heard some of their coverage, and it's so surface. They don't understand. And I give you one example, but I'm singling this person out, but I've seen many others, including the national news, do this. Benny Johnson, I saw him. He did a report on this, and he says they've changed their logo, and I don't like it, he said. Does he know why he doesn't like it? Does he not like it because it's trending in the news and he can get a lot of clicks and stuff, and he is coming out against something and he doesn't understand why? I think so. And I want to put into context what's been going on with Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel has been under attack by the left for the last 25 years. And in the late 90s, black activists, race pimps, Jesse Jackson, the NAACP, and others, used to travel around the country doing these shakedowns. Jesse Jackson was the worst. But it was the NAACP that did the shakedown on Cracker Barrel. Jesse helped. And what they would do with these shakedowns is they would go to companies that had deep pockets and tell them that if they didn't pay them, they would put them out of business by calling them a racist. And Jesse Jackson really started this industry explosion because he was such good friends with President Clinton. When President Clinton was president, Jesse Jackson could get Clinton to come out and say and do things to harass these companies. So Cracker Barrel was it's extortion. Cracker Barrel in the late 90s was being harassed by the shakedown race pimps. And they had these just stupid accusations. Blacks would go to Cracker Barrels all over the place and claim stupid things like Cracker Barrel was racially segregating them from white people when they would seat them. Cracker Barrel was serving black people food from the trash. I'm not kidding. Then they started saying that the name itself was Cracker Barrel, that Cracker is what they called the guy with the slave whip on the plantation, which is not true. It was called Cracker Barrel because it was about the barrels that had soup crackers in them that they used to sell at country stores. They talked about the menu being racist. And Cracker Barrel, I remember this because we covered it on the show so much. Every week, there was a major story calling Cracker Barrel racist. And it would be the talk of the nation every day for years. And some of you may remember that. And they caved and they paid off the NAACP attorneys. And I pulled up a story from 2004. This is from NBC News in 2004. Okay? So 21 years ago. Here's the headline. Restaurant chain settles race bias claims. Cracker Barrel, again, this is September 2004, and I did post this on X if you want to read the story. Cracker Barrel agreed Thursday to pay $8.7 million to settle allegations the restaurant chain mistreated black customers and discriminated against black employees. More than 40 plaintiffs in 16 states alleged black people were denied service, assigned to segregated seating, subjected to racial slurs, and were served food taken from the trash. Also, about a dozen employees complained that blacks were segregated from white workers and generally received back-of-the-house assignments, such as cook and dishwasher. And they paid off $8.7 million. Also, the George W. Bush Justice Department had a lawsuit. Cracker Barrel spokeswoman Julie Davis, this is back in 2004, disputed the claim that food was taken from the trash, would not comment on the racial allegations. Earlier in 2004, this is in the same article, Cracker Barrel settled the Justice Department lawsuit alleging similar discrimination at its restaurant. The company agreed to a number of operational changes. I remember they changed the menu, but did not admit any wrongdoing and paid no fines or penalties. The settlement included a finding that black customers at many of the country store-themed restaurants were treated poorly. Okay, so they did a shakedown, and they paid. So when you're dealing with these shakedown artists, it's like dealing with terrorists. They don't just take the $8.7 million, give the lawyers a third, and retire. They come after you. And here we are 21 years later, and they have this stupid woke CEO who is going to lead the company into destruction if they don't reverse this. Okay? They've remodeled the inside to take all that great country-themed stuff off the walls, which is one of the reasons you go to Cracker Barrel. The food's good, but you go for the food, but you really go for the atmosphere. So they took all that great stuff that looks like it comes from someone's flea market shopping trip. They take that off the walls. They made it generic. It looks like an IHOP. They've changed the logo and taken the guy off the logo, the white guy off the logo with the barrel sitting in the chair. And I wouldn't be surprised if they change the name. And as I said earlier, this is the dumbest corporate decision made since the Bud Light hiring that weirdo to be their spokesperson. But this decision was made in an America that did not reelect Trump. It was a decision that was made for a country that elected Kamala or reelected Biden in the auto pen. So with Republicans standing up against gerrymandering in Texas and correcting the congressional districts, the Republicans gained 5 House seats in this new Texas redistricting. The Republicans, conservatives in this country, are going to stand up to Cracker Barrel. And I'm here to tell you, I only eat there once a year, maybe twice. We do Thanksgiving dinner, and my wife, when it's Thanksgiving, we'll buy enough dinners for a few days because we love the food. We go there on Thanksgiving, sometimes on Christmas, since our daughter grew up. So, me not going there my once or twice a year, but there's a lot of people that go to Cracker Barrel all the time. It's a family tradition after church. People stop at Cracker Barrel when they're driving down the road, and they want to stop off. And I'm here to tell you that their primary customer base are not wokesters, transgendered people, or any of that. It's regular Americans are MAGA. Look, yeah, that's right. This is a MAGA nation, and people are going to pull off the road and not go to Cracker Barrel. They'll go to McDonald's before they go to Cracker Barrel at these exits off the highway. I'm here to tell you, it's going to happen. Now, the backlash is pretty severe, and it's just started yesterday afternoon. So it's entirely possible that Cracker Barrel will, instead of being wake up and reverse what they've done. They have time to reverse this. They've done some remodeling of the restaurants with this new theme, but not that many. And I'll tell you, I was reading a story today about the Fridays. I mean, when I was a kid growing up in high school and middle school, Fridays was a part of teenage life. And they're pretty much all closing down in South Florida, except one near the airport I read this morning. And while that didn't close down necessarily because of wokeism, they changed their theming a lot. It wasn't the same restaurant it used to be. People stopped going. And I don't want to see Cracker Barrel go out of business. It's a company that's been in business over 50 years in the United States. It started in the late 60s. And Cracker Barrel, people love that store. On more than one occasion, my wife has sent me to Cracker Barrel, not to get food, but to get some new item in that store for our kitchen or for the house. And I've done it, and I love it. They sell the Buckeyes there that I used to get in Ohio, that you can't get really too much. The Buckeyes I'm talking about? Those hard candy sticks, I love those. But I'm not going to go back if they don't reverse this. I will not go there for Thanksgiving. And I know a lot of people aren't going to go there at all anymore because of this. And we're in a new phase in America now where conservatives are standing up against this wokeism. That's why they did what they did with the Texas redistricting. And while they've remodeled some restaurants and changed the signs, they haven't done it on many. So they could stop the remodeling. And I know there's a clip of the CEO was on one of the, like Today Show or something, and said she was just at a recent meeting of managers, and they said they want the remodel. Well, they got the CEO of the company there. What are they going to say? We don't want what you're doing? They may want to remodel to clean it up because maybe some of that old junk is getting old, and they want some new stuff that looks like old junk. But they're going to go out of business like Bed Bath & Beyond, like Fridays, and all the rest. If you go woke, you go broke. This is a MAGA nation. People don't want this woke crap. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. My name's Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 465-2631. You're welcome to call in about any and everything I brought up on the program so far today, and I brought up quite a bit, but I really want to hear your thoughts on this. And there's some other problems with Cracker Barrel, too, that I'm going to cover as the show goes on. And there's a lot of other news we have to cover as well. I can't believe it's already Thursday morning. Can you believe it? Tomorrow's Friday already. This week has just flown by because all this great winning that we're experiencing with President Trump. I never get sick of winning. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. Back after this.
Hear ye, hear ye. Tom Laporta here from Laporta Roofing. Floridians, take note. Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida have allocated $280 million for the 25-26 fiscal year to fund new grants under My Safe Florida Home program. This grant is up to $10,000 when you spend $15,000 or more on your project. This may include roofing and wind mitigation systems. Go online at mysafefloridahome.com and get approved before the money is gone. If you need help, please call me, Tom Laporta, 954-604-4602, or find us at laportaroofing.com. It's simple. When you spend $1, the state matches $2 up to $10,000. They send you a check. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it is. So again, call us at 954-604-4602 or find us at laportaroofing.com.
All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. $30 seconds, guys. Welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. If you're on hold, hang in there. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, I'm going to take a call or two before I bring up some new stuff, but there's a lot to cover, and we're going to get into it as the show goes on. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
You know, I was just at Cracker Barrel not that long ago, maybe a month or two ago, and the funny thing was I was sitting there saying, admiring all the stuff they had on the walls. I said, man, this is pretty cool here, man. And you know, the place was packed, which they always are. But now that they took everything out, these people are trying to destroy themselves.
When I go over there to get, my wife and I, we get the takeout for Thanksgiving dinner. There's a line of cars. You got to order in advance, and there's a line of cars around the block just to do the pickup for Thanksgiving dinner every year.
I never had that Thanksgiving dinner. That might be a good idea. But
you know what I like? I like everything at Cracker Barrel, but you know what I really like is they have that chicken that is soaked in buttermilk. Like marinated in buttermilk. Oh my goodness, it's so good. But I'm not gonna. I'll go to KFC before I'll go to this woke place.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, man. I can't believe they would do something like that. Why? They were packed in it. Well, I know maybe not all of them, but
I'll tell you. There's a. Hey, I'm just gonna say the CEO is a woman, and a white woman, and these white liberal women are bad news. Do you know? You know they've even changed. They've even that triangle game that they have where you have like the golf tees, and you try to win it. They've even made that woke. But if you look, liberal women, in particular liberal white women, are responsible. Look at what's going on in D.C., right? In Washington, D.C., it's a city that's run by women, a female police chief, a mayor, the deputy, all women. And look at it. Before Trump moved in.
As they say, I would think that the board of Cracker Barrel would be saying, saying if it's not broke, you don't fix it. Why would you want to change the place that's packed all the time?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple reasons, Doug. One is since they caved to the race pimps in 2004 with that fake allegations of segregation and all that stuff, the liberals have been moving into Cracker Barrel ever since. And you look at what's happened to Disney. Okay, you had a woke woman who got busted in that Zoom meeting talking about how they were putting gay and transgendered characters secretly in the background of all of their children's cartoons. And that was the end. It cost that company billions of dollars.
Well, it's going to cost this Cracker Barrel a lot of money, I would think, because a lot of people are going to get turned off, and there's other alternatives. You don't have to go there. But unfortunately, they make bad decisions, and just like Bud Light, they don't want to wake up and understand that America is not into this woke stuff. But here we go, and it's never going to end, I guess.
That's right.
They just want to.
Well, they could. I don't know. I don't know what their board of directors situation is. They need to fire this CEO, announce they're reversing this, and not do it. Right? Like when New Coke came in. Lasted a short time, and they went back to the old recipe. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Tennessee Tony.
Hey, Tony. What's up?
I don't know about that barrel deal.
Well, Tennessee is where Cracker Barrel originated, if I remember correctly.
And see, with a bigger family, every time I take vacation, I like to find the hotels that have the Cracker Barrel right across the street or out front. Because with a bigger family, it's one of the only restaurant chains that you're actually able to go in with a big bunch of people and sit down and eat a good meal at an affordable price. I just hope they're able to keep all of their prices affordable with all this wokeness,
I would go to Waffle House or something. I wouldn't go to Cracker Barrel right now. Wouldn't go.
Yeah, no, not for sure.
And let me tell you, the food's good. Yeah. I only go once or twice a year, but, Anyway, what's on your mind? You called me.
Yeah, I was just calling to talk about that Cracker Barrel, but I'm pulling into work, but I got to get off here.
All right, you take care. And one last thing on Cracker Barrel, and then I got a lot of other things I want to cover. It's going to end up one of two ways. They'll continue this wokeness and end up closing down locations. They will end up closing down locations. I live in the South in Florida. There's a Cracker Barrel off of I-95 all the way up I-95. The South is now very conservative. We're not Democrats anymore. People will not go into these places, just like they won't get a Bud Light. The damage to Bud Light is so bad. There's a show with Billy Bob Thornton that It's only been on one season so far. It's coming back for a second season too. It's called Landman. Have any of you seen Landman? Billy Bob Thornton. And it's about the oil business in Texas and in West Texas or wherever the oil wells are. And there's a scene where Billy Bob Thornton's in the local diner with the guys that work on his rigs with him. And the waitress comes up and tells them that there's a special going on Bud Light right now. And they're like, no Bud Light for us. Do you think we're gay or something? You know, the damage that's been done to Bud Light, there's been a lot of talk that it's irreversible until we saw the Sydney Sweeney ad campaign was so successful. Sydney Sweeney might be able to bring back Bud Light, but I don't think so. I mean, if you pulled up to a gas station and you saw a guy walking out with a 12-pack of Bud Light, what would you think? You'd think. And guys don't want to be thought of as gay. I'm sorry. Okay? Even a lot of the gay guys don't want to be thought of as that. And they have done permanent damage to that brand. And Cracker Barrel is in a spot like that right now. One last thing I want to mention before I move into the other stuff. There's been something that has happened that I'm so glad that has happened, and it kind of fits into the culture war. You know, when I say this is a MAGA nation, this country has always been a conservative country. We've never been liberal as a nation. We really have not. It seems that way because liberals are overrepresented and Democrats were able to intimidate Republicans in the past. Republicans are standing up now. That's why we're taking the D.C. back from the criminal terrorists. That's why we're redistricting Texas. That's why we're going to stand up against this with Cracker Barrel. There's been a big change that's going on. I read an article about this morning. The yoga pant trend is over. Women are now starting to wear jeans, not just those American outfitter jeans in general. And I'm so glad that's happening because, you know, this fad that's been going on for the last few years of the yoga pants, you go to some place, sometimes it's uncomfortable. You're out somewhere, it looks like the woman's got things spray painted on her body, right? You know, and I find myself it's a little embarrassing sometimes, you know, because the women are like naked and it's inappropriate as well. And I'm glad jeans are back. And jeans are back because this is a conservative country. Wokeism is dead. Now, if President Trump was not reelected, wokeism would be reigning strong and things would be different. But so many people were intimidated into being woke leftist, and Trump's reelection let them know they're not alone, and they've come out of the closet as conservative. So they're going to lose this, Cracker Barrel. Let me take one more call, then we'll break and move into some other subjects. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Jonathan. Hi.
Hey, Jonathan. What's on your mind? No, I can tell a winner.
So what's going on with Cracker Barrel?
Well, the way it works is listen to the show. When you hear something that sparks your interest, then you call. I'm not here to run stories by you like you're do a pitch meeting like you're an editor of a news organization. All right.
Okay, so something Cracker Barrel is what we're talking about right now, though, right?
There's an issue with Cracker Barrel that I have been talking about. Yeah.
Okay, what's your issue? What's your issue with Cracker Barrel?
I'm not going to tell you what the story is. Watch the show, listen to the show, and you'll figure it out, and then you can call if you have an opinion.
Okay, yeah. So my opinion about the Cracker Barrel thing
Here
is
we go. Watch. Get ready for the dump mic.
The bathrooms aren't a big deal, you know.
What?
We have a lot bigger issues going on in our country than the Cracker Barrel bathroom.
Well, you don't even the Cracker. We're not talking about bathrooms. How do you just said that you don't even know what the issue is? So how can you say there's something bigger?
I was watching and calling in. We definitely have bigger issues in our country than the Cracker Barrel bathrooms.
We're not talking about the bathrooms at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, we're talking about Cracker Barrel.
We're not talking about bathrooms at Cracker Barrel.
Oh, okay.
You know, usually when
that's just what, you know.
Usually when I end a call, no, the cultural war is very important because the leftists in the cultural war have done so much damage. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 27.
You're 27. Do you know that the average man who's 67 has more testosterone than you have at 27?
Cool, that's fine.
No, it's not fine. See, at 27, you're supposed to be a manly man who's going out and getting someone pregnant and having babies. But there's erectile dysfunction with your generation because you don't have any testosterone. You don't. Most of you guys aren't even into girls, and if you are, you can't perform because your testosterone's so low. And so the cultural war is destroying this great country in so many ways, and your testosterone's so low, you can't even be angry about it.
So explain to me how with the culture war stuff going on, how is that affecting Cracker Barrel? Why should I not be
Well, I'm not going to go over the Cracker Barrel story because I've been talking about it for about almost 2 hours and you weren't tuned in. So, go back and listen to the show and then you'll get updated on Cracker Barrel. But I mean,
I was tuned in. I'm just I called in to talk about it with you.
You said you didn't know what the issue was. Listen, I'm going to run. I would thank you for the call, but if I did that, I'd be lying because your call sucks. You got nothing to say. But all right, take care. Okay, we'll take our first break of the second hour and be right back. I'm just queuing up some stuff I want to talk about moving forward. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to get to some stories before I take more calls.
Level since the 1930s. What are we talking about? Just 54% on occasion Americans say that they drink alcohol.
Okay, that's the story I want. Okay, we got about 90 seconds and we'll be back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm going to ask you what very well may be the most important question I ask of you today, and that is, do you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy? Then listen up. You want to call Lighthouse Medical. You know, Lighthouse Medical in Pompano can help you no matter where you are in the United States, even locally, without going to the office. They understand that if you have neuropathy, you may not be able to get out of your house, and that's a difficult thing, and they're going to relieve you of that problem, because Steve had every neuropathy symptom there is: the dizziness, the pain, the falling down, the tingling in the hands and feet, that feeling of pins and needles. That's the word. Oh, you know, sometimes you can get that when your leg falls asleep or your foot falls asleep. Neuropathy makes life really unbearable, and your doctors will tell you there's no treatment for neuropathy. That's not true. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment that works and that lasts. Steve had his treatment for his neuropathy just over 3 years ago. They rid him of his neuropathy symptoms at Lighthouse Medical, and his symptoms have not returned. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Okay, so I want to get to this story because this fits into the Cracker Barrel, everything that's going on in this country. This is a new set of polls that it sounds good in the beginning, but at the end we get a real bad result. This is CNN, and this is yesterday on CNN. Listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness gracious, this is a huge decline. Americans who drink alcohol, we are looking at the lowest level since the 1930s. What are we talking about? Just 54% on occasion Americans say that they drink alcohol. That's down from 4 points last year. That's down from 62% in 2023. And it is way down from the record high the last year that happened, when it was 71% back in 1978. This record low is being driven by younger folks and Republicans as well, as they increasingly view the idea of drinking as an unhealthy habit.
The poll also asked about smoking. What did that show?
Yeah, same exact idea. It turns out we're giving up.
Okay, now the beginning here, the smoking and the alcohol, that sounds like good news, right? Yeah.
Our vices a little bit. What are we talking about? Smoked a cigarette in the last week. Look at this. In 2025, just 11%. A decade ago, it was 19%. 2 decades ago, 25%. You look back 1974, about 50 years ago, it was 40%. What is that? That's 1/4 the level. My goodness gracious. And again, younger folks are the ones who are saying that they are smoking less. And even when you combine in e-cigarettes, we're still looking at considerably lower levels than we have in past decades.
Okay, so drinking's down, smoking's down. Those are good things, but it turns pretty bad. Listen.
People watching are also going to see this tab. And you're saying that people are giving up vices, and you think sex is a vice?
I'm not saying that sex is a vice. According to some people, perhaps it's a vice. It is not a vice according to the Harry Enton school of thought. But bow chickie wow wow going down. What are we talking about? No sex at all in the last year as Kate's off on the side laughing it up.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not laughing.
She's doing something.
Sure.
She's not even sure.
I'm blushing under all of this makeup.
She's blushing. There we go. In the 1990s, among all adults, no sex at all in the last year was 18%. In 2024, look at that. No sex at all. Up again 10 points. Look at here. Those 18 to 21, look at that. 24% in the 1990s. It's the younger folks who are getting up sex. Look at that percentage. Doubled no sex in the last year. Maybe they do need a little bit of alcohol. Maybe those two are related.
Okay, so this is a devastating number. Among those between the ages of 8 in this new CNN poll, among American adults between 18 and 21, in the 1990s, 24% of them did not have sex in the previous year. Did not. In 2024, 48%. Basically, half of adults between 18 and 21 did not have sex. So only half of them are having sex, when before it was almost 80% were having sex. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, conservative values, we're still in favor of reproducing the species. And this wokeism that the liberals have infected us with has caused about half of people of childbearing years not to have sex anymore. And they don't have sex not for moral reasons with purity rings. They're not having sex because the testosterone's low, right? I couldn't believe Bobby Kennedy brought this up the other day. Men in their 60s have higher testosterone than young men in their 20s today. And you hear some of these soy boys that call me. It's scary. They have such low testosterone. The ones that are straight are not even interested in girls. And if they were, how many of them couldn't perform because their testosterone is so low they can't perform? And that's why our birth rate is only slightly above our death rate now. And this is not by accident. This is by design. This was part of the liberal wokesters' plan. You know what I mean by can't perform. I don't have to tell you. You guys are grown-ups. You hear these soy boys calling me? You think that they're into girls and if they were, you think some of them have some difficulties? Heck yeah. It's not a problem for older men. It's a problem for young men. These are we need people of childbearing years to have babies. That's why President Trump is setting up this bonus, this account thing for the new babies to try to get people to start reproducing because our birth rate is so low in this country. There's a lot of problems in the country, but some of the most long-term problems are because of wokeism. And this issue with Cracker Barrel, while on the surface you may say that's not that important, wokeism has infected so many aspects of our society like this. It's good that people aren't drinking and smoking. I'm not a heavy drinker except on our cruises, and I've never been a smoker. But when you have young people that aren't interested in sex and aren't having it, half of the young population aren't having it. The number of people that are not having sex of that age group has doubled since the 90s. How can the species continue? How can our population grow? And the answer is it can't. Now, the left, we're trying to make it grow by importing illegals. And, well, that didn't work out for them because we shut down their illegal invasion. All right, now I want to tell you guys about Dr. Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. You know, it's absolutely amazing, his laser wave pain treatment. You know, you've heard me talk many times. It works on every type of pain I've ever heard of, and he's rid me of pain 7 times. And with the laser treatment, of course, there's no shots, no injections, no downtime, no drugs, no surgery. It's 100% painless. You don't even feel it when it's happening. But one of the types of pains that it treats that I didn't think about until Dr. Appleton told this to me is if you have an injury from a car accident, if you're in pain from a car accident, go see Dr. Appleton. The laser wave pain treatment works on those pains as well. That's right. It absolutely does. And the laser treatment, of course, repairs the damage that's causing you the pain. That's why when Dr. Appleton rids you of pain with the laser wave pain treatment, it does not return. Give him a call. And remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. His number is 954-973-0710, 954-973-0710, and online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. Hey, Haku, what's up? You want to be on YouTube, Haku? Come here. This is my daughter's cat, Haku. He is freaking huge. Oh, my goodness. Cleaning the litter box with this guy is a chore. When he goes, it's like a dog went in the litter box. He's very talkative. He is from California, but my daughter got him from a shelter in L.A., and they actually took him to Mexico to get him fixed. So he's been to Mexico, California, now he's in Florida. So he is a traveling cat. Yeah, he's huge. Haku. That's his name. Mm-hmm. Now listen, if you're 65 years of age or older, call Chapter. Talk to them about your Medicare. Did you know that millions of seniors are not getting all the Medicare benefits they're entitled to? That's right. Millions. You could be one of those millions. Find out. Chapter covers all 50 states. So no matter where you're located in the United States, give them a call. The number's on your screen. It's also in the description of the video. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. And when you call, you're going to get a real person, a real agent on the phone. They'll answer all your questions. It's completely free. There's no catches, no hooks, nothing. It's completely free. The average chapter client saves over $1,100 on their Medicare. So make sure you're on the right plan. And if you're on the right plan, they'll tell you. Oh my goodness. I'm getting text messages like crazy. Okay, we got just over a minute. Oh, my cats! This is a cat paradise that we're in here. We're in a cat paradise. I got to tell you, my cats love it. I started a new allergy medication, and I got 1 minute. It is working so well. I can't believe how well the allergy medication's working. Oh my gosh, they're gonna knock something over while I'm on the air. Can you guys play in the other room? Coca-Cola and Haku are playing. Come here, Coca-Cola. There you go. 30 seconds. Welcome back. We just hit the halfway point, halfway through the show. It is Thursday already, which I'm in shock about. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to share some things with you before we go back to the phones. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. So the crime in D.C. is really getting cleaned up. It really, truly is. And I got two pieces of audio I want to play. The first one is Jim Acosta on his podcast. And J.D. Vance, along with the great Pete Hegseth and the great Stephen Miller, they had a press conference yesterday, which I may share some of later. I don't know, but it was beautiful, taking questions. And, you know, the people that are upset that the federal government has moved into D.C. and is lowering crime are white liberals, right? The white liberals are very upset about this. I guess they think it's okay for black people to live in crime-infested neighborhoods. But anyway, first, let me play this. This is Jim Acosta. I know you probably forgot about him, but he's still around, barely. And, of course, he disagrees with everything President Trump ever does. Listen to this.
And I just want to say I take my hat off. Kudos to the people of Washington, D.C., for showing not just bravery and courage, but patience and restraint in the face of what is, and I'm just going to go out here and say it, an occupation.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they've been occupied by terrorist criminals terrorizing the city, but he's talking about the National Guard forces and the federal agents.
People of Washington, D.C. are living under an occupation. And I'm in Washington, D.C. right now, and I grew up in this area. I grew up in Northern Virginia, and the D.C. area has always been my home. You know, as all the viewers have heard many times, Redskins, Commanders, Caps, Wizards, Nationals, you name it. I'm a D.C. kid.
A D.C. kid? By the way, they're so upset with Redskins. What about Wizards? Is that a Klan reference? He calls himself a DC kid. You know, in Florida, I don't call myself this, but a lot of guys call them, they say they're a Florida man, like Ron DeSantis is a Florida man. We don't, you know, men don't say that they're a Florida kid or a Florida boy. You're a Florida man. But Jim Acosta, he says he's a DC kid. He thinks he's a child. What a weirdo.
Commanders, Caps, Wizards, Nationals, you name it. I'm a DC kid.
Yeah, I'm a DC kid. And, you know, if you've ever gone to an old neighborhood that you used to live in, sometimes it looks nicer. Like there's one place I used to live that's like upscale now that used to be dumpy. But sometimes you go to a place and it used to be nice. I went by a few years ago. I was in the car with my wife and daughter. This was years ago because my daughter was in the car and she was little. And I was in Pompano. And when my grandparents retired to Florida, they retired to Pompano. They lived in a duplex. My grandmother's sister owned a duplex, and my grandmother lived in one side of the duplex and her sister lived in the other side of the duplex. And I was driving, it was in Pompano, off Federal Highway, and we were driving by, and it had been a long time since I'd been there, like the 80s. And I said, oh, that's where my grandma used to live. Let's drive by. My good, during the day, it was so scary. I got out of there. It wasn't safe to be there with my family. And, you know, when you're in an area that you grew up in and you see that it's crime infested, even though you don't live there anymore, you wish the cops would come in and clean it up, right? Not Jim Acosta. He's a D.C. kid. And it used to be safe. It's not anymore, but that's okay. He thinks the crime should be there because as most Trump derangement syndrome sufferers, he's become an advocate for criminals to go out and do violent crime.
This is who I am. I'm from this area.
Yes.
And it pisses me off to no end that we somehow have a situation in this country where the president of the United States is allowed to take over the nation's capital.
The president already runs the capital. It's the federal city, the nation's capital.
How is that legal? How is that possible in this country?
Okay, so there's this just endless number of white liberals that think that the black residents of D.C. should live in crime-infested neighborhoods where carjackings and murders and sexual assaults and robberies and everything else just go on all day in the middle of the day, especially after the sun goes down. I bet you Jim Acosta doesn't live in one of those high-crime areas. I like to see how many padlocks he has on his front door. Well, Mike Lindell at Lindell TV sent this lady out to the streets of D.C., and she interviewed real people that live there, not some liberal media elitist snob in a padlocked house like Jim Acosta. She went and talked to black residents of Washington, D.C., and asked them what they thought about President Trump making the move, sitting in the National Guard, and clamping down on crime. So this is a lady from Lindell TV. Listen to this, talking to real residents of D.C.
Here in the heart of Washington, D.C., I'm hitting the streets to talk directly to the people.
And by the way, she's the White House correspondent for Lindell TV.
Who actually live here, the ones who deal with the city's crime and chaos every single day. Do you feel like President Trump's initiative to send in more police could be helpful for D.C. residents that don't live in safe areas?
Yes, I do. And I'm very appreciative of what Trump is doing. And I think everything that he's doing is helping D.C. as well as America.
At this point in my life, I think I'd rather move to another state.
How come?
Well, I've been shot 4 times, attacked so many times, I'm tired of it.
Yeah, but he's been shot 4 times and attacked multiple times. But Jim Acosta thinks, what, he should get shot 5 times, Acosta?
Shot 4 times?
Shot 4 times in my life, yeah.
So it's 4 separate times?
Since I moved to D.C.
Since you moved to D.C., you were shot 4 times?
Yeah.
Residents expressed frustration with wealthy liberals, progressive protesters, and Democrat politicians that continue to say that Washington, D.C. is safe.
They don't have to deal with the crime in the other areas. They have better stores, better protection, police protection. This area right here, around here by Hecker Jamal, I wouldn't want my grandchildren to walk around here. They live in this area, not far.
So what's your message to President Trump if he sees this?
I love you and keep up the good work. And thank you for all of what you're doing. God bless you.
I just want the police to do what they can for our country, for our city of D.C. So none of us young people don't have to live out the rest of our lives robbing and killing or God knows what, or end up in jail, dead, or drunk, or becoming a drunk at the liquor store or loitering.
The youth in D.C. need more governing. They need more policing, more programs. Put programs back in place.
Y'all keep talking about the youth. Where they going at? They don't got no rec centers. They don't got no playgrounds. They don't got nothing. They don't even got boxing teams no more, or football teams.
Boxing is the answer. I used to be a boxer. I was a 2-time Golden Gloves champion. They don't have a boxing gym here? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm saying they got them, but it's not like it was when we was coming up.
Wait, when they had mentors?
Yeah, they don't have nothing out here for youth, period.
I did recently hear about the woman being thrown in the trash can down the street.
Oh, my goodness.
Like a few months ago, and that was very concerning, especially because her age, she was a little bit older.
I got God. I got Jesus. He's my protector.
Do you think women are safe, single women?
Yes, if they have Jesus, that's all they need. Jesus is the way.
Well, get a lot of people off the streets, yeah, that'd be a good idea. There's a homeless problem, yeah.
We have to be protected. Other countries are protected. Why we can't be protected?
That's right.
You know, and the cities, people has gone crazy. Just let a man take over. Just yeah.
That's Trump.
Let Trump take over.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're for federalizing D.C. Because you think that it will help the people here be more safe?
Yes, 100%.
Reporting for Lindell TV in Washington, D.C., I'm Cara Castronova.
Okay, I've never heard of her before. She's a boxer. I wouldn't mess with her. She'd kick my butt, I'll tell you that. All of those people she interviewed were black, and they're real residents of D.C., not these Northern Virginia people or these Maryland people or someone who takes the train into town like Biden used to do. They actually live there where the crime's happening, and they all were positive about Trump. But, you know, I saw J.D. there yesterday with Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller at that press conference at the train station, and you heard all these white liberals booing him, booing him, booing him. They probably don't even live in D.C., but when they talk to the real residents, you find out. They love Trump, they support Trump, and they support what it is that he's doing. All right, let's go back to the phones. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi.
Yes, you're on the air. Yes.
Hey, I'm Teresa.
All right, Teresa, what's on your mind?
Teresa.
What's on your mind, Teresa?
Well, I live in the Tennessee-Georgia area, right on the line of Tennessee, right out of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
And I heard you talking about the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel situation. I do not like it. The interior is awful.
Oh, the new one? The new one? The new interior?
Yes, it feels sterilized, and I guess I don't like change, but it doesn't feel the old timey kind of situation. And the reason why, if you'll hear the old way they used to say Cracker Barrel, the old timey store, it means two different things. They show the old kind guy leaning against the barrel. Well, that's what they used to hold. It was crackers.
Yes.
That's where you get Cracker
So
Barrel.
it was soda crackers.
And,
soda crackers.
Yes, right. And the old-timey store is most people way back, turn of the century, or if you saw Sergeant York, that's where everybody met, was at the country store. They got all kinds of information.
What do you mean if you
like
what do you mean if you saw Sergeant York?
Sergeant York is where all the country people would meet at the country store.
Oh, I see.
Some
Okay.
people didn't read.
Yeah.
Some people didn't read, and so they would read the paper.
Well, you know,
and
this
people
is what it
get
is.
private
Okay,
information.
these wokesters are trying to do away with American culture, and Cracker Barrel. There's so many of them right up I-95 through Florida everywhere. It just drives them nuts that there's so much Americana off of every highway exit in America, and they're trying to do away with it. That's what it's all about. And they got this gay activist woman that's running the company. And the way I would describe the inside, it's very sterile, no personality. It's kind of like an IHOP. There's just nothing there. It's like bare walls. Mm-hmm. And the food's great at Cracker Barrel, but all that fake garage sale junk on the walls is one of the things you love. While you're waiting for your meal, you're looking at it. It's fun.
Well, and you looked at the walls and it's like, I remember seeing that in my grandma's house.
Exactly.
Or I'd like to have that in my house.
Exactly. Well, listen, I got to run for the break, but thank you for the call. All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back. Okay. Hey, Coca-Cola. If you're on hold, hang in there. $30 seconds. We'll be back. Oh, my cats love it here. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Dino from Long Island. How you doing?
All right, Long Island. What's on your mind?
I just want. Yeah, I'm stuck in Long Island. I'm stuck in traffic, and I said I got to call you. I just took the family on a trip to Tennessee a couple weeks ago, and we stopped at Cracker Barrel 3 times. I love that place. It's like entering a time machine when you go there. With all the old candies and all the stuff on the wall.
Yeah.
If they ever change, if they ever change that place, I'll never go there again.
Well, they're doing it. It's been done. They're doing one at a time. I mean, they're in the process of remodeling them. They've changed the logo, and they've really gone woke times infinity. They've gone Bud Light.
Yeah, exactly. And that game that you just mentioned, the game they have at the tables, I noticed right away that they took the word ignoramus out of there. You know, when you one of the things that is famous at Starbucks are those triangle things with the golf tees that you try to do the thing with the holes. And it had a kind of funny, insulting way. If you couldn't do it, you're an ignoramus or something. They've changed the wording to be very woke. I mean, I'll see if I can pull it up so it doesn't offend people. Yeah. Right. It's like if you leave 3 or more pieces, you're better luck next time.
Yes, that's exactly right. It says better luck next time. It doesn't say you're an ignoramus anymore, because that would offend people.
I noticed it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love that place. I go there. We stopped by there once going and twice coming back, and the food is great. But if they ever change it, yeah, like you said, I'd rather go to a McDonald's at that point.
Well, see, these woke people will go to McDonald's as this story spreads, and as crazy as it sounds, it's the #1 most searched news story on the internet today is Cracker Barrel. Okay, so it's spreading like wildfire. And when this story gets around, people like you will go to McDonald's, BK, or Waffle House and stop going to Cracker Barrel. They will stop going.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call. But, here's the thing about these wokesters that run companies. Like what the wokesters did to Disney, or what's happening in the Cracker Barrel. They don't care. As crazy as that sounds, these woke executives do not care if you don't go there. To them, this is the culture war is a cultural revolution to them, and pursuing and shoving down your throat their woke ideology is worth destroying the brand of Bud Light, or in this instance, Cracker Barrel. And this thing with Bed Bath & Beyond, Bed Bath & Beyond has there's huge, it's in all the press that they're pulling out of California. Bed Bath & Beyond went in bankruptcy a couple years back. My local Bed Bath Beyond was one of the millions but many of them around the country that went out of business. And the reason Bed Bath & Beyond went into bankruptcy and closed down locations is because they went woke and they kicked out My Pillow, remember? And what they're doing now is a PR, it may be a financial move. They moved out of my neighborhood and closed down the local Bed Bath & Beyond a couple years ago. But they may be moving out of California because of financial reasons too. They're going down the toilet. But their PR firm is trying to turn them into a conservative company. And I've seen a lot of people people have forgotten their betrayal of Mike Lindell and the wokeism 5 years ago at Bed Bath & Beyond. So because they're standing up to Gavin Newsom, people are like, yeah, let's go back to Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond went bankrupt because of wokeism. Bud Light's forever damaged. What's going to happen to Cracker Barrel? Well, time will tell. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano Beach.
Hey, Chris.
I'm glad you mentioned that last part, that those that get in charge of finding themselves with a job, they are ruining these various institutions and traditions. Do not care. They don't have any skin in the game, as Steve would say, and they're so agenda driven. They're looking past it. But I just recently talked to some young family members about the penny candy store and all the tradition and classic candies that we used to enjoy. And
that's right.
You used to see it in places like Party City, which also are closing some of their doors, and maybe the Dollar Tree, and you mentioned Twizzlers the other day, but listen, this is a part of our life, and to see things sensibly, or senselessly, you may say, to the waste because of some other little agenda, it just doesn't make sense.
Look at what's going on with the NFL right now. They finally got beyond all that take a knee for the national anthem garbage that these multimillionaires who think they're slaves did. And then what do? They get through it, and then boom, they got these weirdo cheerleaders out there now. So they're going woke again.
Exactly, and it doesn't make sense. But it's never ending. And it's funny, you know. I listened to a little bit of Ronald Reagan. Stumbled onto that yesterday at YouTube, and he talked about these different ideas from the socialism and the different agendas out there that are going to drive this country down. It didn't make sense. He even did the math on some of it. So not getting into that, but here we are now, tripled down.
That's right. And I know some people are saying, well, what are you, against male cheerleaders? No, we've always had male cheerleaders, but I knew guys that played on the football team and went to college, and they couldn't get on the football team, but they were cheerleaders. The male cheerleaders were to hold the girls up when they're doing pyramids and stunts and stuff. And it's probably a good way to meet girls. And they probably get a good view from time to time during the game. But these new male cheerleaders, they're not the strong men to hold the girls up. They're sashaying across the field. It's different. People, it's a whole other deal.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the thing about sex and the numbers you mentioned earlier, same deal. Oh, they're probably having plenty of, but guess what? It's not the type of sex that reproduce. You know, now they're filling the schools with these mentors now to kind of encourage them to be. And
they're having Pornhub sex and gay sex, and that doesn't make babies. All right, appreciate the call. All right, and that's just the way it is. All right, take another call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kevin.
Yep. What's on your mind?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Turn down the volume of what you're listening to me on in the background.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
That's okay. I clicked you on by mistake, but that's okay. You're on now.
I'm calling from Ontario, Canada.
Oh, hey, welcome.
Sure.
Now here we go.
I don't even know where to start. Like the provocateur, is that what you're doing with that hat?
I'm wearing a hat that says Trump 2028.
Provocateur.
No,
right?
No.
You want to wipe your ass with the Constitution.
Excuse me. Lay off the no profanity, please. Okay. And I got to put you on hold because we have to hit the dump button on that. I mean, my goodness, I'm not going to let And by the way, we don't want some guy from another country telling us who our president should be and how to stand up for our Constitution. Okay, so, this Trump 2028 hat, you can buy these in the White House. They're in the White House gift shop.
Yeah, I get that. But it's trolling.
No, it's not. We support President Trump having a third term.
It's trolling?
No.
Well, if you support him having a third term, you don't support the Constitution.
Well, I'm not going to... As a Canadian, you don't even understand our Constitution.
I watch your politics because it cracks me up. Your politics is theater to me. Your politics, your system is so broken. It is beyond.
Well, I don't expect
repairable.
anything different from from a Canadian. You guys didn't even stand up with the American colonies during the Revolution. But here's the thing. This is what I know about Canada. Canada is a welfare state living off the United States.
Oh. Oh my God!
We're paying for your whole healthcare system.
So you do buy it, eh?
We're paying for your whole healthcare system. You should be laughing. Yeah, I mean, we had a bunch of dopes that used to run this country. Yeah, you're
paying for our welfare system.
No, we're paying for your universal healthcare system, your national healthcare system. Americans are paying for that.
How do you figure?
Because we get
paid through the nose.
First off, Canada doesn't pay their NATO dues, and they also aren't paying you're not paying your fair share for the North American Defense Alliance that you have with the United States, and you've been ripping us off with the import taxes for decades. So,
oh my God. Yeah. Look at the lumber. Look at the milk.
We don't want your Canadian lumber. We don't want your Canadian lumber.
Look at Monsanto.
Your country is nothing without us.
You are so myopic. It's blowing my mind.
80% of Canadians live within 150 miles of the American border. You're nothing without us.
Yeah, we live on the border. This is true.
Because you need us. We don't need you.
We don't need you.
Yeah, you do. We're supporting your whole country.
We'll be members of BRICS before we're back.
We're supporting your whole country.
Trump has got the entire planet looking to shy away from the world's greatest economy.
Really? All the European leaders, all the great Western leaders came to the White House to greet the president the other day. Your Canadian Prime Minister wasn't there because your country's not a player. Thanks for your call. We'll take our break for the top. Man, no Canadian Prime Minister. They're not players here. The leaders of the real important countries came to kiss the president's ring. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. 2 hours down, 1 to go. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on? Yep, you there? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. Just give me a minute. I'll be right back with you in a minute. Hold on. Seconds. All right, we have 90 seconds, Steve.
Okay.
Oh, man. Hold on, I'm going to put you on hold for a second. Okay. Oh, the phones are ringing off the hook.
Just go to the phones, I guess.
Okay.
You there, Brian?
Yeah, I'm there. We got.
Did you get to read that article?
It was not. I could not find that article. It was not on the online edition. It was
really?
It was not on the online edition. Yeah. Do you remember the guy's name again? I'll look real quick. Maybe
yes.
It's been updated.
His name is Peter Doran. D-O-R-A-N.
What was the headline again? Let me see if it's been updated today.
Make the deal. Only real pain will get Putin to the table.
I'm not seeing it. Hold on. Okay, we got 10 seconds. All right, the third hour has begun. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
Hey, before every line on the board is lit. Something I must have said something. I don't know.
Must have been something you said.
I guess. But before we take the calls, I want to tell everyone about my weight loss. You know, we had a recording session the other day, you and I, over at Wings Plus.
Yes.
Oh man, we can't do that again. It's hard to record commercials at Wings Plus because your mouth starts watering. You know.
Exactly.
We had to do so many takes on that commercial. And oh my God, I can smell the Wings Plus now. But anyway, you know, my weight loss journey has been amazing because the thing is, like, when you gain weight, sometimes you don't realize it because you see yourself every day, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I didn't realize how much I needed to lose weight until after I lost it, and I got my face back. I got my square jaw, got my neck back. I got my cheeks back. My face isn't round anymore. What happens when you gain weight, sometimes, Steve, it's like your face, it's like out of a monster movie. Your face is in the middle of some flesh that's round, you know? And you get your face back. You get your definition back. You get your neck and your square jaw back. You have a flat stomach like you're 20 years old again. It just feels great. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They can help you no matter where you are. My results are typical, okay? Here's the number, 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, you want to take some of these calls?
Let's do it.
Okay, that's I've lost track of the order, but we'll find out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Ken, calling from Jupiter.
Ken in Jupiter. What's on your mind?
Ken, what's up?
Well, I just wanted to reach out to our Canadian friend. Trudeau basically screwed up that country so bad at this point, and then the replacement, Mark Carney, made it even worse because they're following these globalist policies, these zero-emission energy policies, and they basically, Carney told everybody, oh, he can deal with Trump. Oh, he's going to make Trump, bow to him. And he got what he asked for.
Well, I'll tell you a couple things.
He tries to do an endgame around Trump.
A couple things. In the United States, one of the lowest types of people you can be is a carny. But the other day, when President Trump had all the NATO leaders to deal with real important issues like this war with Russia and Ukraine, the Canadian Prime Minister wasn't there because Canada is not an important country.
Invited.
No, because they're not players.
No, because they're globalists. They're trying. They tried an endgame run around Trump.
You know what they are? They're
Mexico.
I used to have all my dogs have died of old age, but I had two dogs, and one was a big dog and one was a little dog, and that big dog was so tough and would defend us and everything else. When we were out, I'd go to the dog park outside at the dog park, and there were big dogs around, my little dog would be terrified unless the big dog was there, and then he was all butch. You know, that's what Canada's like. You know, they're this little wimpy, yelpy dog. They're nothing. Everything good out of Canada comes to the United States, right? And
in fact, it's interesting, Alberta, that province has been screwed by Ottawa for such a long time.
Well, I don't want to talk too much about Canada, but you're right on the money, and I want to thank you for your call. Oh, did you see, Steve, the other day, President Trump took those leaders from Uzbekistan into that room at the White House where they sell the MAGA hats? Did you see that video?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, they've got this room. It's a gift shop. In the West Wing, and he took Zelensky there the other day too, and he's got every MAGA hat that I have here on my shelf, including the one I'm wearing, the Trump 2028 hat.
Wow.
And he took one off the hat and showed Zelensky. It said 4 more years, and the videos are pretty cool. 4 more years. That's the new MAGA hat. I got to get one. But anyway,
it's not going to be a secret very long, I can tell you that.
There's an article in the New York Post that I was reading about this gift shop that President Trump had set up. Because there was an article you wanted me to read in the New York Post that I couldn't find. But I came across this article. This President Trump, man, I love this second non-consecutive term is so cool. Okay, so he has this beautiful room. It's a White House gift shop in the West Wing. And he has all the MAGA hats for sale in there, including the Trump 2028 hat, the 4 more years hat, and all the others. That room used to be the study off the Oval Office. It's where Bill Clinton had the sex with Lewinsky in. It's the same room. It's the Lewinsky sex room. And President Trump has turned it into a MAGA gift shop at the White House. So
instead of a Clinton gift shop.
Well, remember Clinton gave a gift to the sink. Remember that? Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I do remember.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's take some more calls. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's your old friend Jack from Sarasota. How are you guys?
Oh, hey, Jack. We're doing all right.
Jack, what's up?
There's a couple things. I was going to talk a little bit about Cracker Barrel, but that's not really an important issue. I think it's important to talk about Representative Collier, who was forced to stay in Texas, pretty much kidnapped by the state legislature. How do you feel about that, and why do you not think that that's a big deal?
I'm not really sure. I don't know which one Collier is. One of the Democrats?
She was the Democratic representative.
Oh, is this the one? Is this?
Tell us the story real quick.
Is this the one?
Run the story by us, because I'm not familiar with it either.
Hold on, caller. Is this the woman? Is this the woman that was doing the interview from the toilet, and they came in and told her to get out or she'd get arrested on TV yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Class act. She's doing interviews on the toilet, Steve. Yeah. This is great. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, tell the story. I mean, most of the people out there, I think, are probably not that familiar with the story. Just give us a capsule version of what happened, so everybody will be in on it.
The emergency was the reason why everybody was supposed to vote was supposed to be for relief after July 4th flooding, but instead they wanted to redistrict everything to eliminate the Democratic seats in the House in Texas. It's not good to not help your fellow American. It's kind of a bad thing when you do something like that.
Oh my gosh!
When you don't leave the people who have been harmed from.
Let me update you a little bit, Sarasota. Okay. They're not. It's not. The redistricting is not being done to eliminate any seats. Texas still has the same representation in the House of Representatives that they've had. And the Republicans in Texas aren't gerrymandering districts. What they're doing is correcting the Democrat gerrymandering.
That's not my point, Brian. My point is they prioritize redistricting.
Oh, that truth of the story. That's okay. I just don't understand what you're talking about. I'm hearing
redistricting over helping their own people after a disaster. Don't you think it's wrong to do something political over helping your own people?
I have no idea. Who's not being helped, and what was the disaster? What was the disaster?
Do you remember how many people died? Do you remember how many people died in that flood? They still can't find this little 8-year-old girl. Why do you think it's more important to redistrict?
This is interesting. Okay. So this is interesting. Oh, okay, hold on a second. This is interesting because I didn't realize how high the stakes were. You mean to tell me that the Texas legislature has some bill that if they passed it would create some device that would bring the dead flood victims back to life?
No, I never said that.
Well, you're talking about people that died during this flood and this vote that's going on now. I don't understand. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, then let me explain it. I'm talking about helping the people in Texas who lost their homes and their livelihoods.
Texas doesn't need your help. Texas is tough. Texas is tough. They fought the war of Texan independence against the Mexicans. They don't need you and your wokesters to help them.
They're prioritizing redistricting over helping their own people, Brian, and it's wrong. And that's why the Republican Party will no longer exist. Because people like you don't have any heart. You don't care about your. Yes. You don't care about your own
people. You have too much heart.
Is this the new talking point?
Too much heart and not enough brain.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me? Until there was backlash, Donald Trump wanted to get rid of FEMA.
That's right.
FEMA is there to help the people in case of an emergency. But Donald Trump wanted to get rid of it.
You and I listen here. Listen, because it's corrupt. FEMA is a racist. Remember FEMA is a racist organization. If you were, excuse me, enough. I'm going to respond. FEMA. Why does the president want to end FEMA? FEMA is a racist organization. If you remember, when North Carolina got hit last year with the hurricanes, the FEMA head on the scene told the workers not to, if they saw a Trump, bumper sticker or sign, don't help those people. Don't help MAGA people.
You support that, sir?
you want to get
Do you
rid of
support
something
that?
like that. Listen, I support
That's exactly
helping
what
the American
happened.
people.
Everyone in the audience knows it. So why are you
Listen to me.
pretending to be dumb?
I support helping the American people who are in need and not getting rid of programs
Unless they
that
have Trump
help
signs
people.
in their yard.
This
Exactly.
is a political issue, Jeff.
All right,
It should not be
I
political.
appreciate the call. Oh my goodness.
He's babbling now.
Yeah, well, he sounds like he's had a head injury. It's just the
babbling idiot.
Because there's all this winning. Now, I want to tell everyone about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloan. This is, Steve, you got to get one of these doorbell cameras because it's obviously part of the security of the home, and it's part of the security at the radio station too. But what I use it most often for is you never, ever, ever have to get up to see who's at the door ever again. Because every time there's movement in front of your house, you get a notification on your cell phone and you can see who's there. And it's awesome. If you're in bed, if you're on the toilet, if you're in the backyard, or you're in the living room, you don't want to get up. You just can see who's there and you can answer it or not. And it's a big convenience. And you can get a doorbell camera that connects to your cell phone for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call right now, 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, Steve. Okay, we'll be back shortly. I'm not sure what time yet. Okay, we got 2 minutes. We'll be back.
What are we doing here?
No, hold on. We got 2 minutes. We'll be back.
Is it a live spot? I mean,
No.
recorded?
Yeah. Oh, man. One minute. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know that last guy we talked to, he said the Republican Party is going away. I wasn't even going to bring this up, but since he said that stupid thing, did you see this new study? Steve, listen to this. Democrats are losing the registration rates.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And
yesterday was a key day. They had all these great articles that came out showing the Democrats are literally almost non-existent.
Yeah,
as a political force in the country.
Only 30 states track party affiliation, okay? The other ones are probably dim states. But in the 30 states that track party affiliation, okay, there's been a 4.5 million voter swing towards the Republicans.
You see it across the country.
You know, I think it involves a lot of things, but that this has happened. And by the way, a lot of it is because new registrations, and that means young people, so Charlie Kirk's doing some good work. But a lot of what it is, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think this is what it is. You and I remember a time when gay people were in the closet. Remember those days? You know?
Yes.
And people were hardcore in the closet. You used to bring people out of the closet on the air. There were a lot of gay people that did radio shows, and you'd go in and try to get them to come out of the closet. You had some success with that. A few times. Remember those days? Those were fun shows.
Yes, absolutely.
Those were fun shows.
We freed them up.
You got Al Rantel to come out of the closet on the air. He used to go to personal appearances with a woman.
Al, don't tell. Al Rand, don't tell.
Yeah, exactly. Don't ask, don't Rantel. And then he got Norm Kent to come out of the closet on the air.
We gave him a little assist.
But, you know, gays used to live in the closet, and I don't think people realize this. But what got gays out of the closet, this will not make sense to most people when you first hear what I'm about to say. But if you listen to what I say after and you think about it this afternoon, you'll say, yeah, he's right. AIDS led to gays coming out of the closet. AIDS, you heard me right. And what happened was before the AIDS epidemic, which was a really scary time because there was no treatment for it, and the only thing you knew about AIDS is you got it, you were dead, right? Remember that?
Yep.
And a lot of people, this will sound, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. But if it were not for AIDS, I may never have hooked up with you, Steve, because I became.
Okay, I'll bite.
It's true. I started working with you. I was your board op. I started as your board op, right?
Right.
And what happened is I was the overnight board op. And the morning, you were on in the mornings at the radio station. And the board op, remember Mike James?
Oh, yes.
Mike James, he's no longer with us. He died of AIDS. And he and I were the same age. And he had AIDS. And when he got diagnosed with AIDS, he just wasn't reliable to come to work. He stopped coming to work because back in those days, there really weren't any treatments. It was a death sentence, and he was partying like it was 1999 every day. And because he stopped showing up for work, I was the overnight board op, so I had to stay over, and then it morphed into this. Which, so if it were not for AIDS, you and I wouldn't be, I would not be where I was today.
You in the business.
That's right. If it weren't for AIDS, Steve, who knows where I'd be today. But what happened with the AIDS, and I'll tell how this relates to the Republicans and MAGA. And I'm going somewhere. But the AIDS epidemic is what brought gays out of the closet. And what I mean by that is, prior to AIDS, gays it was seen as a perversion, right, Steve? Before what happened with AIDS, it turned gays into a victim class to the mainstream public. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's what happened. And gays came out of the closet after the AIDS epidemic because of the sympathy people had for the AIDS suffering community. Because back in those days, if you had AIDS, your days you were going to die. Now people can live forever with it. There's so many treatments, right? And you had that thing where you brought the guy with full-blown AIDS to the radio station in the 80s.
Right. And the program, who was that program director? They didn't want him on the air.
Because they didn't want them breathing into the microphone.
Yes.
Was it Jerry Wichner? That
was the radio host, but who was the senior executive at that time?
I can't remember. Somebody.
Dennis Collins.
It was before I knew you when that happened.
Dennis Collins, I think, was the station manager.
And he was he the one that wanted the station fumigated because they were afraid? I'm serious. I'm not kidding. People was terrified to be around gay people with AIDS. It was scary. Yeah. It was a bit, but it turned being gay into a victim class, and that's that. And I think I think people that have been around long enough would agree with that. Well, what's happened with the voter?
It was a scary time. It was. Yeah. It's not pleasant for anybody.
No. It was bad. And so anyway, how does that relate?
Now it's all coming back to me. And they didn't want to put the guest on my show, and I made this think about it. They called the press.
Yes.
And they had pickets outside the station.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
I pressured the station manager into not canceling the gay guest.
And I know that sounds very homophobic today, and maybe it was then, but that's how scary AIDS was. People thought you could get AIDS by breathing air that they were breathing. It was a very scary time. It really was. People forget. It was terrifying, And remember the people that had AIDS, they had that smell from their breath. It was really, I mean, you don't see that anymore because there's so many treatments. But that's how gays came out of the closet. Well, what's happened with Republicans is this, that with this voter registration, conservatives have come out of the closet like gays did in the 80s. And what happened, because liberals are so nasty into cancel culture and are overrepresented in media of all kinds, this country's always had a majority conservative population, but people have been in the closet like gays used to be in the closet. And with President Trump's reelection, them shooting him in Butler had a lot to do with this. But between the lawfare, the assassination attempt, shooting him, and then his reelection, conservatives have come out of the closet, and they don't hide it like they used to. So it's not that all of a sudden the country's been red-pilled. These were people that were living in hiding as conservatives.
People have woken up.
That's right, and they're out of the closet now. And this is a great thing that's going on, and we're doing so well. I looked at the clock. I can't believe it. Those of you on hold, stand by. I'm going to put you and everyone on hold, Steve. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break and be back. All right, we'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, I want to tell everyone about chat. Now, listen, guys. Yeah, 2 minutes. We'll be back exactly. No matter what state you're in, if you're a Medicare recipient, call the number on your screen. It's also in the description of the video. I'm going to give it to you in just a moment. But call Chapter. No matter what state you're in, they can help you with your Medicare. And when you call that number, no matter what state you're in, you're going to get a live agent on the phone. They'll answer all your questions. It will cost you nothing. Did you know millions of seniors are not getting all the Medicare benefits that they're entitled to? You may be one of those. And the average chapter client saves over $1,100 a year on their Medicare. Pretty good, huh? There's over 24,000 Medicare plans, and because they're a national company, they have access to all of them. So give them a call. It's absolutely free. It never costs you anything. There's no hooks, no catches, just free help with your Medicare. Again, the number's on your screen. It's also in the description of the video. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Right. Just over a minute, we'll be back. And don't say what it is, but that thing we have tomorrow, it's tomorrow at 10, Steve. Tomorrow at 10 after the show.
I got you.
We have a meeting tomorrow after the show. It's at 10 a.m. Oh, I can't believe it's Thursday already.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh my goodness. Emily's visiting Los
Can we
Angeles.
talk a little? Can we end up this last half hour just catching up on the conflict?
Yeah, there's a full board of calls, but yeah, we can do that. Yeah, hold on.
We don't want to spend the last half hour on
No.
the gay thing.
No,
which is what we're going to get if we take these calls.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, Emily's out in Los Angeles. She went out to get the rest of her stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She's telling me how expensive it is. The gas. Oh
Can't
my
wait
gosh.
to get her back.
Oh my gosh. The gas is, she's like freaking out. She's used to the Florida gas prices. All right, we're coming back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. If you're on hold, stand by. You know, you said during the break you want to catch up on what's going on with the Ukraine-Russian war.
Yeah, I mean, I had this great article in the Post that we didn't have a chance to go through together. But basically what they're saying is the president who's done real well up till now, of course, we're all good Americans are rooting for, but that he's got to make a move. He has to use some of the tools at his disposal, largely the sanctions that we talked about, to bring the Russians around, because Putin is not coming around. And the time has come where, you know, the president is starting to look bad if he doesn't put his money where his mouth is.
Well, you know, this bombing that Putin is doing is not helping.
Well, no, but I mean, but the ace in the hole that we have is the sanction. And he's not using them.
Well, he's gave him 2 weeks, and we're about almost a week into tomorrow will be week 1. He gave him 2 weeks, and then it's not just sanctions on him; it's sanctions on countries that do business with him.
I understand secondary sanctions as well.
That's insane. I don't know if that's ever been done before, but it's a brilliant thing. It's a brilliant thing. You know,
but he's got to do it.
You know what I wonder with this Putin bombing is because it's insane what he's doing. I mean, Trump's trying to end the war. They had a summit, and he keeps doing this bombing. And I wonder, is he? You know, when remember we used to work with the drug rehab people. You know.
Yeah.
And they would talk about that. If you're going to take someone to rehab, you don't tell them. You just grab them and take them, because if they know what's coming, they go on this last bender and go on they call it, and there's a lot of overdoses that happen, right? If somebody is a drug addict and you say, okay, on Friday we're going to rehab, Wednesday and Thursday they're going to do every drug they can get their hands on, and a lot of times they OD. And is that what Putin's doing? Are there some things and people that he's targeting and he's just getting this last blast of bombing out? Or is he? Well, he's
just. It seems this whole thing to me is about the Donbass region. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
It's such a crucial piece of real estate on the line between the two countries It seems to me that's what the fight's about.
Well,
can you think of anything else?
Yeah, well, what I'm wondering about the bombing, and I'm not, he should stop the bombing. I mean, it's not helping. But remember when Saddam pulled out of Kuwait and he destroyed everything on the way back, lit all the oil wells on fire and did all that, the fires. Is that what Putin's doing? Is he getting, is he just blowing stuff up because he wants to inflict all this damage before he agrees to end the fighting?
I think he's doing what our president is just talking about doing. He's making Zelensky feel pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the process, humiliating our president.
Well, I don't know about that part, but Zelensky, when he was at the White House the other day, he was not the same Zelensky I've seen before. He was different. And it was the first time that I believed him when he said he wanted the war to end and he was willing to make a deal.
Well, Zelensky's doing fine with his part.
Yes, I agree.
But the words aren't just doing it on our side.
Well, do you think Putin plans on not ending the war, or is he open to it?
I see no inclination to put an end to it.
Yeah.
It just seems to expand it.
Yeah, it seems that way. All right, let me squeeze in a call or two. If you got any comments on this, certainly welcome. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Uncle Steve. I.B. in Broward. How are you guys? Hey.
I.B., how are you?
I'm breathing. I called in about something else, but since Brian brought up AIDS, do you remember Kimberly Bergalis? I knew a person that knew one of the lawyers on that case.
No.
And Brian is right that it gave gays sympathy back in those days because it was widely thought that it came from gays. I personally believe it was just another experiment like COVID.
Well, what was the other thing you were going to talk about? We don't really want to talk about AIDS. That was a reference. That was a reference.
Let me ask you this. Can you give your comments on what's going on
with Ukraine
between Zelensky and our president?
Zelensky and what?
Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk to you next time. I appreciate the call.
I'm talking about is it time for us to make a move?
Yeah. No, he's not. He's not. I'm going to move on. We caught him off guard. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What happened to IB?
He'll call tomorrow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, you're out. You were right, Steve. You said during the break, if we go to these calls, it's all going to be about AIDS. I made a reference. It was not the discussion of the show today.
No, I understand. I mean, that's really the key issue when you stop and think about it.
Well,
we've been threatening and not doing anything.
Well, I don't know. I think that it's 50-50, which is, I know that's kind of a cop-out, right? But it's 50-50 on if Putin will make a deal. He could be just toying. See, my guess would be that he'll make a deal because of those secondary sanctions. And he figures, well, there'll be some Democrat in the White House at some point in the future, and then I'll take it all, and they won't stop me.
Which means this thing's going to blow up, and we're going to lose.
10 years from now.
That scenario is a loss, you understand?
Years from now.
If that happens, that's not good.
But it'll be unrealized now. Like maybe he'll agree to a peace agreement, and then in 10 years take it. Yeah. Hoping there'll be a Democrat president in the future.
Well, how is our president going to get through this without his credibility being shattered?
If he comes up to an agreement, he'll have his credibility. The worst case for Trump is in this nothing. There's no deal, and he says, "I did what I could." They got to fight it out. I did everything.
Well, that's the start of you realize that's the recipe for the start of the Third World War.
Well, yeah, it's only a matter of time before if things escalate. Or continue. It's only a matter of time before some rocket ends up hitting a church on Sunday in Poland and killing a bunch of people at mass. And then what happens, right? Yeah, I know. It's very dangerous what's going on. It's very dangerous, and it's Europe is too small to have a major war going on between two countries, and because if you get
the one thing that's evident is we're not going to get anywhere if we don't give an ultimatum.
Well, he gave him. I was under the impression he gave him 2 weeks, and tomorrow will be week 1. So we got to be a little more patient. We got to wait another week.
It's an awful lot of time to kill people.
I know. All right, let's see if we can get some non-AIDS calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Jerry from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, how are you doing this morning?
All right.
What's up, Jerry?
All right. Well, hey, so the thing is, the Trump 2028 hat, I love it, of course. And I know the liberals, they get pissed off at it. But how much more pissed off will they get when Trump actually becomes the head leader of NATO? Right? Do you think that's possible?
Apoplectic.
This is the thing about Steve and I were talking about this the other day. Roosevelt got 4 terms because the country was going through terrible things. The war, the depression, and we just can't change the lead. This country is going through a heck of a lot. This redistricting in Texas is about, they're going to do it in other states, South Carolina, Florida, all over the country. And we're in the, Victor Davis Hanson. Do you know who Victor Davis Hanson is, Steve?
I sure do.
He is
one of my personal favorites. I keep trying to get you to listen to him.
Victor Davis Hanson, I always listen to him. Not Mark Levin, Victor Davis Hanson. Victor Davis Hanson is probably the most brilliant conservative mind in America today. And he was saying, the other day he was talking. He said President Trump is leading a counter revolution, and it's the greatest counter revolution in America since FDR's first election. And when FDR was elected, it was a counter revolution in that people didn't trust business anymore because the Depression happened. And we're in a counter revolution to fight the socialists, the communists, and the wokesters. And 3.5 years is just not enough to get the country straight. He needs another 4 years to firm it up.
I got you.
Well, it needs a fresh perspective like Kamala.
Yeah.
You said like Kamala, please no. But I also wanted to say, Florida, you guys are lucky to have Byron Donalds. I think that with this whole DC thing that's happening and within the black community and stuff, he would be the perfect person to actually step up and bring the black community not out in the streets to rally, but actually bring us into the golden age. I just think he would actually be the perfect person. But you guys are lucky out there in Florida, man.
Yeah, we are. Florida's the best state. Yeah, best state.
I definitely would have to move back out there. But hey, y'all stay blessed, nothing less, and drop the stress. Okay.
Okay. All right. Take care. I like that guy. He had a lot of catchphrases. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. I want to remind people about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. With Coastal Weight Loss Secret, that no matter where you're located, they can help you in the United States. And even if you're local and you can't make it into their office and you're in South Florida, with telemedicine, they can help you with your weight loss as well. And I did not realize this until I was talking to Dr. Zuckerman over there at Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Not only do people take pills and everything, there's people that get shots to lose weight. What? And these things are incredibly expensive. Coastal Weight Loss Secret, there's no shots, no pills. You don't have to starve yourself. You've heard me talk about it for a while now. And the best part is, not only does it work, now that I'm in the maintaining phase, keeping my weight where I wanted to. I've lost all the weight that I want to lose. This is what I weighed when I married my wife 29 years ago, is where I'm at now. And that's pretty darn good. And I like it. And I'm right where I am. And to maintain my weight is no struggle because I didn't have major lifestyle changes to lose the weight. Give them a call. It's 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossSecret.com. All right, I'm going to put you and everyone on hold, Steve, and we're going to come back with the Gold Report. All right, we'll be right back. Hey there. Stand by. All right, Steve, we have 1 minute. You there, Steve? Hey, hold on. All right, Steve, you there? Okay, I'm going to conference in William.
Yes.
I'm going to conference in William. Hold on. All right, William, we have 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. And as we do each morning at this time, we check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. How the metals looking on this Thursday, William Youngerman?
This Thursday, the metals are looking very stable after a nice gains yesterday. Gold trading in a range of $3,310 to $3,351 yesterday, and closing up $32.90 at $3,346.90 the ounce. Silver gaining 53 cents yesterday, closing at $37.83. Platinum up $32 yesterday at $1,340, and palladium gained $4 at $1,113 the ounce. Overnight, gold trading in a range of $3,325 to $3,353, and right now we're down about $5.90 at $3,341. Silver up 2 cents at $37.85 the ounce. Platinum down $8 at $1,332. After yesterday's nice $32 gain, and palladium down $10 right now at $1,103.
Wow.
So the market's very stable and doing very well.
That's great. What are some of the best buys right now in the gold and the 1 ounce and the fractional golds?
All of the coins are at very good low premiums, lowest premiums ever. Most of the bullion coins selling below the mint manufacturing cost to our distributors. So we're finding great values as far as the premiums are concerned on the gold. And of course, the pre-33 U.S. gold coins are still on sale at just a fraction over their gold value. So great values on all of the items that you can purchase in gold, silver, platinum. Very low premiums.
And that's really amazing with the pre-33, because they don't make those coins anymore ever. And
no, they don't.
And people that are into pre-33 gold, you appreciate that a lot. All right, listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call. His number is 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road, and online at williamyoungerman.com. You'll find both his address and phone number. All right, William Youngerman will finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, just want to remind everybody also that our foreign exchange department deals in 60 currencies from all over the world. So if you've got currency that sitting around that maybe you came back from a trip, you want to get rid of it, bring it in, we can give you the cash for it right on the spot. Or if you've got any old currency, we also buy all old currencies.
Yeah, and if you're planning a trip and you want to stop in, it's a much easier process than other places, I'll tell you. If you're going on a trip and you need some foreign currency, stop by William Youngerman's. All right, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right,
Thank you.
Take care. All right. All right, we are back. You back with us, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we have a full board of calls, and I think we cleared out the AIDS epidemic calls from the 80s. So hopefully these are calls on the war. Yeah, it's so. Sometimes there's just because we'll make a reference to something doesn't mean we want to have a whole discussion about it. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name?
For sure.
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Rob, and I'm calling from West Palm Beach, Florida.
All right, Rob in West Palm. What's on your mind?
Good morning. Yes, earlier in the conference, I'm retired from law enforcement. First, it's nice to have a commander-in-chief sitting in Washington who thinks about law enforcement and backs us.
Yep.
Second, with what was going on in our capital, people forget that there are thousands of people that go to visit the monuments and everything else, and their safety is covered by the United States Capitol Police, which everybody forgets is a federal entity. However, most law enforcement people that I know that retired or live in Washington are thrilled to have the National Guard or the Army out there just backing up, and they feel a little safer. I always said that one of the Democrats walked the streets in a police uniform for just 2 shifts, and I guarantee they would change their minds, if not hide under the bed for the rest of their life.
Where were you? You're retired. Where were you a cop?
New York.
New York State or city?
I started with the city, and that was the first round of pink slips, and then I went on to a form of international policing, pretty much teaching the proper ways all over the world.
When I was growing up, everybody was afraid of the cops. You wouldn't mess with the cops. And I remember when President Trump had that press conference when he took over the law enforcement in D.C. a couple weeks ago, he said, "You spit, we hit." The idea that people can spit on police officers and they have to stand there and take it because of these woke Democrats that are running these blue cities is insane to me.
Yes, well, right, wrong, or indifferent in the state of Florida, as you know, coming from Florida, a lot of our sheriffs now have said, people get out in front of you and they try to run them over, and we will not prosecute you.
My grandfather was a police officer. My grandfather was a police officer. He retired 35 years during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And he had this thing. I don't think that he had a blackjack. And I don't think they're allowed to have those. You know what those are, Steve?
No.
They're those. How do you describe a blackjack, caller? How would you describe a blackjack?
Oh, billy club you're talking about.
No, it's better than a billy club.
A lot of the newer ones were very flat, and they went in your back pocket, and they had a rawhide lanyard. Enough to put around your hand.
It's a little, Steve. It's a little thing that fits in your thumb with a couple of your fingers. It's made of very hard leather, and you can fit it in your back pocket. And you just tap somebody on the head, it knocks them out. They won't mess with you, right?
Mm-hmm. Some of those were actually in the beginning had lead. Had lead under the leather.
And my grandfather, his oh my goodness. And they were made of black leather. That's why they call them a black, I mean, but see, what happens is the tools that law enforcement used to have, you can't and how are you a cop today when every time you have an interaction, you're being filmed by 20 people around you?
It's crazy. I used to tell my own kids, you want to become a cop, become a fireman?
Yes.
Just practice the physical.
You want to become a fireman?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't be a cop today. You can't be a cop.
No.
I remember once a friend of mine, me and a friend, when I was in high school, we were out at the beach drinking beer. We were like 17. You're not allowed to drink beer. We're out in public drinking beer. The cops rolled up on us. They got in our face and were screaming at us and everything else. They made us pour it out. And my friend mouthed off at the cop, and the cop grabbed his shirt. And said, "What the F are you doing, you dumb mother effer?" And we, today, my friend and I, we would have retired off the civil rights lawsuit, right? Especially if you're black. Cops can't do that anymore. But you know what? We didn't drink on the beach anymore. They don't have power anymore.
No, I'm 73. And back in the day, if I would have said something, my father had the Bronze and the Silver Star from World War II. He was at Pearl when they bombed it at 19 years old. He wanted to become a cop, but due to war wounds, he couldn't. Worked for the post office his whole life.
Oh, that's good.
Gave us a good family living. I grew up in Brooklyn on the streets. But if I would have stepped across the line, I didn't either.
But, sir, I think it's changing. I think it's changing. Now with our present president, the cops are getting support from the federal government.
Yeah.
But they're standing behind the feds.
That's right. They're standing behind the cops.
That reflects the change in America's thinking. America is fed up with the liberal crap.
That's right. That's right. Hey, appreciate the call. Call us again sometime. Rob in West Palm. But in a lot of these woke cities, the cops themselves are liberals because they're in woke cities and they grow up liberal. So just because someone's a cop doesn't mean they're conservative. But if they're out being spit on and treated badly by criminals and they can't do anything, human instinct makes red pills them. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, you missed your chance. Let me try one more, Steve. We're running low on time. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, you didn't let me get to understand Steve's question because I didn't understand the last part of what he said.
Oh my gosh, IB.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, really?
And number two, I called in to talk about DC, not about AIDS, but you didn't let me get to that point. You assumed, okay? And I never broke the rules in 16 years. I'm calling in about DC, okay?
Okay.
Am I still there?
Yeah.
Now, the point is this. It's just so typical that they still bust these people into black neighborhoods to protest something that the black people did not say they didn't want. They want the peace. The black people who are living in that neighborhood is saying we want the peace. We don't mind the presence of more deterrence. You he already went over all the stats about how the crime statistics have been down. Why do you have these people that don't even live in the neighborhood? Just look at their IDs, and they are coming from all over the place and telling, "Hey, we don't want these people."
Well,
yesterday,
yesterday, J.D. Vance had a press conference with Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller at the train station in D.C. about the crime.
I saw it.
And the people that were booing, they don't live in D.C. They're paid activists that
all I called in about. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Appreciate the call. All right. I lost Steve. All right. I lost Steve there. But we're out of time anyway. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
You know, this is Al.
Yeah.
And I don't call you that often.
Hold on, Al. Just let me answer all these lines. My phones are ringing off the hook, and I don't know if I'm allowed to make you the last caller of the day. But if you're on hold, stand by. Our number 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And I'll go back to the calls in a minute. Now, tomorrow is Friday, just a reminder. And tomorrow, that is open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. On tomorrow's show, you can call in about anything and everything on your mind. But today's Thursday, and that's not the case. All right, let's go back to the phone. All right, you're on the air.
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you? I think one of the problems we have a situation here, like when you're involved in a law or a potential agreement, is the spirit of the law or the agreement. And right now, when we see Russia continuing, we have a potential framework for an agreement here, and yet they're still using the missile attacks and this and that. Are they really living in the spirit of what this agreement should be? And the other problem is that
the answer to that is no. No.
Yeah, and we're hosting these negotiations at a high level in the White House. and we're also pretty much the guarantor of what the agreement is going to, of this agreement that's going to be posted here.
That's right.
So it's a little unsettling watching Putin's actions here, where he doesn't seem to be living in the spirit of this agreement, and that's
right.
kind of a problem.
It is a problem.
You know.
Well, what I was talking to Steve about earlier is he planning on peace, but he's got some things he wants to take out before. So is he doing some hardcore bombing because there's some targets that he wants to take out before he agrees? I know that's maybe wishful thinking.
Well,
it's
possible.
possible.
But it kind of puts us on the spot as being the guarantor of this agreement. You know, I mean.
Well, listen, we're out of time for the day, and
Brian.
and Liberal Al, you're not allowed to call in at the end of the show. You got to call in before the last seconds. You know that. All right, it's the Steve Kane Show. Again, tomorrow is Open MAGA Mike Friday, open phones. Thanks, everyone. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's been here. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. See you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Take care. All right. Yeah, I lost Steve there at the end. I don't know what happened. So listen, guys, if you... a lot of you may have noticed, but many of you may not. I started the show a half hour early today. Did the first half hour just here on YouTube, not on the radio. And I'm going to start doing that maybe every day, but I'm going to do that every morning I'm able to. So make sure that you're not only subscribed, but you got the notification bell clicked. And when I do that pre-show here on the channel, I still take calls. We don't have to be as careful with some of the things we talk about and do because I'm not on the radio until 6. So if you missed that part of the show, you can rewind and check it out. But make sure you got the notification bell clicked so that you get a notification when I do go live, when I do go early. All right, guys, thanks for watching. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching.